day went and what, we did here, blah, blah, blah. And at the bottom, and I go, and you three were stupid enough to leave her in my hands. Yep. Hey, is today the day I'm supposed to pick her up at daycare?
God, that's good.
God. That was a great suggestion.
It really was. That was solid.
Yep. And I didn't do it until I had her home. I picked her up, brought her home, and the whole deal. Had the picture already taken, was just sitting there waiting.
Right.
Yep. Hey, is today the day I'm supposed to pick her up at daycare? 3:45 too. That's fantastic.
Did you just sit and giggle as you sent the text?
I was laughing the whole time. I was just waiting to see the reactions.
Well, one of two things. They'll never ask you to do it again, or they'll never question you doing it again.
They're not going to bother me anymore. She had a great day. Heck, I made her walk. I made her walk from the back of the preschool to the car. I made her, when we parked in the parking lot here, I made her walk. Everybody else carries her. I'm like, come on, let's go. Okay.
Waddle, waddle, waddle.
Yep. See, I'm just trying to tire him out. That's my goal. I just wear him out.
It's David, even at 9, it's why at the end of soccer practice, when he decides to go with sprints, I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. Yep. I'm coming home, showered, and going right to bed.
That's it. I'm the worst too, because my daughter and I have a great relationship, obviously, but yesterday I'm watching gymnastics. I didn't think she was very good. Like I thought she kind of stunk, and
right.
been getting better. We got in the car and I went, "So how'd you think you did?" Oh, okay, really?
Yeah.
You were looking at your phone. I said, "Yeah, because you couldn't do anything." I got frustrated. All I was getting this.
Yeah, it's just. It's when you want to say to him, "Well, you're half-assing it. Why can't I?" Morning, everybody. Paul, Baby Jules, AJC, Mongo. Hope you've had a good week. I'm sorry, Arch.
I hope you have a better weekend.
Yeah. There you go.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. It is a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, asking the question, how the heck are you? Hopefully you're pretty good, if for no other reason than the football magic numbers have been reduced to 8, 13, and 20. Huh? Yeah. If you count this preseason garbage, you got football every weekend till, the first weekend of February. Maybe that'll get you through. If you've had a rough week, just savor that. Take it into the weekend. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great, David. Yourself?
Well, I'm doing really well. I have to admit, yesterday was a banner day.
Well, that's good. To review, you were in charge yesterday. You were Al Hag, for those old enough to remember.
Mm-hmm.
You were picking up the granddaughter at daycare, much to the chagrin of your daughter and your wife, who didn't think you, who raised your daughter, could accomplish the task of picking up the granddaughter from daycare and taking care of her for a whopping 90 to 105 minutes.
Right. I'm a guy, therefore I'm a moron.
By the way, my wife did confirm that you and I are both morons. I was telling her the story from last night, and I said, he did accomplish raising his daughter. And my wife, without making a breath, went, well, his wife really did that. He didn't have much to do with that.
So, in other words, she gave a Mark Miller back to Mark Miller, in which you were making the case for me helping, at least contributing to raising our only child. And she went, really?
Exactly. You didn't even know there was a side to take and took your wife's side.
And she kind of likes me, too.
Yes, she's fond of you.
I know. Wow, that hurts. Tell her she is just, she is more painful as she gets older. Tell her that. Man.
She's gotten tougher, there's no doubt.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to admit, spending all that time around you, I could see why those elbows have gotten sharper. So, yes, I was in charge. We are doing things differently. And so, after detailing just how little trust everyone had in me with a series of texts before I was in charge yesterday, Miller and Moulton and a few listeners in our Twitch chat room came up with a devious plan. If I had the guts to pull it off. And, well, don't challenge me. Whether it's a good idea or not, just don't challenge me. Well, what if your kid jumps off the cliff into the water? You going to do it too? Well, as a matter of fact, yeah. I mean, I'm with Dion. If one guy's fighting, we're all fighting. Let's go. So the challenge from one of the listeners was, listen, pick your granddaughter up and get home and wait a certain period of time and then text everyone, one of those group texts that you hate, and go, hey, was today the day I was supposed to pick the granddaughter up at daycare? So I did it.
Good for you.
Yep, I did it. I picked her up, brought her home. Okay, she was having a ball. I'd already taken a couple pictures of her with her great grandmother. Okay, everybody's smiling, having fun, and I just had those ready. Okay, and then after about 45 minutes or so after I was supposed to pick her up, I sent out that text. And 3 minutes later, all right, son-in-law freaks. I can leave work right now and I can come and pick her up. And I don't respond because, quite frankly, that's not my target audience. My target audience was my daughter. See, my wife was working and she works a half hour away. So even if she saw it right away, there was nothing she could do.
Other than yell at you, which would have been fun. An angry text from your wife to get her to bite. But you got to catch her in an opening because she works where she can't be looking at her phone constantly.
Exactly.
So the timing had to be perfect for that one.
Right. So I knew that by the time my wife saw her phone and what have you, she'd realize that I was just being a blankety blank and she'd get over it. But 2 minutes later came the text from my daughter. And that was the money shot right there. That was like, okay, there we go. We won. Okay, treat the old man like a worthless, incompetent blank. This is what you get. So then I sent the text out with the picture of her playing and going, don't worry, we got it taken care of. Oh my goodness. Apparently, son-in-law had already left the office, was like on his way to the car in the parking lot. I will say I didn't have much more time because he's like 10 minutes away from where the daycare is. So, I only had a few minutes here, although I would have loved it if he would have laughed. I will say he's got a sense of humor. He realizes that I've got a blankety blank side to me. He would have laughed. Okay. If halfway there he looked at his phone and I had sent don't worry, I got it taken care of. He just would have laughed. Probably would have stopped, gotten himself a coffee, returned to work. Yeah. Daughter's like,
daughter. I mean, who knows how sarcastic you are? Who knows what a blankety blank you are? But it's her kid.
Right.
And she thinks you're incompetent in raising her kid, even though you raised her.
Right. Hey, listen, if I'm incompetent, I'm an idiot, but you're a bigger idiot if you think that of me, and yet you're putting me in charge of your only child. I mean, she's at her daycare. She's getting professionalized care. Why would you take her out of that to hand her, okay, to the biggest moron that you know? But apparently that was your decision. I have to admit, if you look at it on paper, it doesn't make sense. She's being well taken care of. She can stay to the end of the workday. Why would you ask her to leave? Makes no sense. But, so anyway, so I got my, I did my job and I got to stick it to everybody in the process.
Way to go. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I knew you were going to stick. I was never at all worried of you not sticking with the plan because it was too good of a plan. And I know you. I mean, that was just solid.
Yep. It was a suggestion from a listener. And we laughed during a commercial break while reading the, Twitch chat room and the idea. And I was like, oh, absolutely. I laughed all day. I said I was going to laugh all day. This is one of those deals in which I had to wait 7 hours to pull this prank. And it was joyous. And then I went out with friends last night.
What?
I know. My lawyer buddy and his wife flew down from Jersey. They have other friends in Jacksonville, and they flew down to see them, not to see me, but they squeezed in a dinner with the moron. So, and I got to listen to more Dr. Roto one-liners. He's the guy who was given. And so I looked at his wife and I go, listen, this is what your husband's doing. Okay. During the first hour or so of work. Okay. And I started reading all the one-liners and she was like you. She thought the first half of the Dr. Roto one-liners were good. And then midway through, she kind of looked at him like, you got to get back to work. He's like, oh no, there's a good one coming.
Wait, there's a good one.
Right. Now there's a good one coming.
It's good to know most shows have a bunch of interns that do this stuff. We've got an attorney that charges his clients to write material for us.
Right. That's what I said to his wife, Jane. I go, Jane, how much would you charge your clients for this material? Okay. She goes, I don't think I could do it. I go, Bob? He goes, I'll find a way. Actually, Bob wouldn't. Might be the most ethical person I know. Actually, it's kind of disheartening to hang around Bob and Jane. They're so ethical. I look at them all the time and go, you do know who you're having dinner with, right?
I don't know if I could just hang out with people named Bob and Jane that long without making references to.
So think of the day I had. Okay. I pulled off the, taking care of a grandchild, which, how could I do that? I'm a man. Got everybody back in the process and then actually had adult conversation and a fine meal. How about that? So I am heading in
for a Thursday.
My goodness, that's a month right there. So ready to go. Got my first preseason football game, my only preseason football game coming up Monday. The Ravens and their 24-game winning streak. I'm fascinated by it. And I hate preseason football. Think it's stupid. Wouldn't play it. They haven't lost since September of 2015. They're not playing their starters most games. This is hard to do. I mean, this really is. If you were trying to win 24 straight preseason games, I think it would be hard to pull off. Because even if you're trying to win, how many of those games did you play Lamar? First off, when the streak started, Lamar, I think, was a freshman at Louisville.
David, I actually believe that they have now gotten to the point where they're trying. But that's still not that easy because you're playing guys that aren't going to make the team, that are prone to make a colossal amount of mistakes.
Right.
And blank happens.
Yes. So, I'm fascinated by this. Don't care about it. Hope nobody gets hurt. And, I hope the Commanders have a lead in the fourth quarter. It's all I'm going to be whispering in Troy's ear. The streak's on the line, right? He's going to look at me like, yeah, nobody cares. No, it's a big deal.
Just don't write down or just don't whisper in his ear presidential information for him to go which presidential administration it was since they lost the last time.
Oh, no, I have already got it. I did some research. We had a Zoom meeting yesterday. Okay, I let him know. Uptown Funk was the #1 song in America in 2015. All right, price of gas was about $2.35 a gallon. Obama was president. No one had cast a vote for Donald Trump yet. They had only had one presidential debate on the Republican side the last time the Ravens lost a preseason game. Oh, no, I'm loaded with totally unnecessary, stupid stuff.
You built a graphic yesterday.
You're darn right I did. You're darn right I did.
Just don't get Joe or Troy fired for your graphic.
I asked them permission. Could I sent the info to them, and they both said, yeah, we're not going to present this. You're going to have to embarrass yourself and present this. So I did. Said, here you go. Lisa Salters liked it. She said, I may take it in the open. I go, great. It's fantastic. I made sure to remind everybody, she's the Emmy Award winner on the crew, okay?
Miller and Moulton, nowhere near an Emmy. We will talk some Dolphins and some NFL at large today. The starting five is 25 minutes away right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Thank you, Lindy. Thanks for the suggestion.
It's National Fajita Day.
Ooh.
And National Ice Cream Pie Day. You could have a fajita, some ice cream pie, and finish it with a glass of Pinot Noir and handle your national days and order something from a mail order catalog. We have 4 days today. Fajitas, Pinot Noir, ice cream pie, and mail order catalog day.
What the hell's Pinot Noir?
It's a wine.
Ooh,
It's a red wine.
interesting. I had some wine last night. I went to Cooper's Hawk.
Did you?
Yeah, it was nice. That food was delicious. By the way, that's a sweet cut. Where'd you get?
My salon.
Oh, you have a saloon?
I go to a salon, yes.
Nice.
I overspend for haircuts, so I don't get bad haircuts. It's $30. It's not that much more than the other place. Then a $10 tip.
Is it the one in UV?
No, it's on Coconut and Three Oaks.
Oh.
In that mall there.
Mhm.
Salon Cesar.
Interesting. I have to go there after the show. I'd probably have to book an appointment, but
Probably.
yeah.
There are so few Winn-Dixies down here, Adam, anymore that it doesn't matter to me the way it once did. So many Winn-Dixies have closed around here.
You know, I was just talking about how many Publixes there are in a 20-minute radius.
Oh,
drive
yeah.
radius from my house that I just moved into. There's 9. 9.
Mm-hmm.
9 Publixes in a 20-minute radius. That's unbelievable. I don't even think there's 9 Publixes in a 20-minute radius in South Miami. Thus begging the question, which county has the most Publixes? Because Lee might be a contender.
Well, I'm going to throw Duval in there just because the county's so spread out.
Right.
But Collier County's so also geographically huge, but then again, I don't know how much of it is used.
Right, exactly. That's a great Florida trivia question right there. Which county in Florida has the most Publix?
Well, from the looks of it, Miami has the most. There's 61 different Publixes in Miami.
Dade County is pretty massive. So, yeah.
So based on the list I'm looking at, it's Miami, Lauderdale, Orlando, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Tampa.
Atlanta?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hollywood, Naples, St. Pete, Pompano Beach. Those are cities, not counties. So there you go. Fun little facts for us. Little Publix fun facts.
You know, now that I'm thinking more about where Publixes are, I'm just thinking of more and more locations in Miami. And there's one there. Yep, there's another one there. Mm-hmm. Where shopping is a pleasure.
Not that advertising works or anything.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for waking up with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Bearman, Pro Football Network, with an emphasis on the Dolphins. He will join us top of the 8 o'clock hour. Pat Kirwan also, man, SiriusXM's been sending him all over the darn country. Gone from Jacksonville to Seattle and a handful of points in between since we last talked with Pat. So we'll catch up with Pat around 8:30 or so here on Miller and Moulton. Football Friday, Mark.
It is a football Friday. I tried to watch some preseason last night, but like you, David, I was put into action. The wife had a work event, so I had to take the daughter to gymnastics. So by the time I got home, first couple quarters were done, and I turned it on, and it was the third quarter, and you look at it, and there's not a name you recognize, and you go, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Thank you. Not only that, there were like 2 long injury delays. Apparently, a couple of Eagles hurt their neck, and they had to wait and make sure they were taken care of properly. And so it was a game marred apparently with bad quarterback play and injuries. That's what I read, Mark. I didn't watch a play. You know that. I don't care about the injuries.
But David, the most important part of the game was the over-under was 36.5. And the final score was 18-18.
Have to admit, I think it was the Eagles who were down 18-10 mid-fourth quarter. That's a tough spot because there's not a head coach in the NFL that, wants a tie preseason game. Yet you can't score to cut it to 18-16 and kick the extra point. I mean, you look like an idiot. I mean, after the game, your first question, hey, do you know how to add? That's not a good look. So he's got to go for 2. Well, then he makes it. And I'm just glad they're like, yeah, we're done. 60 minutes.
Right.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, we're going home. It's like a spring training baseball game, okay? No, we're only playing 9. Every now and then you'll see 2 teams go, hey, I got a couple guys I could get in. You want to play 10? But that's as far as the spring training game will go. So, yes. And, Mark, that's like the 3rd preseason game already in the early going, over-under, that's gone under by a half a point already.
That was some excitement, but this morning, right before the show, I got an email with all the layouts for the football pools that I'm in. My weekly football pool. He does a great job of sending out Excel spreadsheets of the whole season of all the games so you can pick the winners, and there's the suicide pool. But that email comes in basically saying, where's my check? Right. Time for all of you to get off your butts.
Yep.
And meet me at the bar and pay me cash, which is what I prefer. But if you're out of the area, here's the address. Send your check.
It's go time. You've had your off season. That blank is over.
So I'll have my wife write that check for me because I don't write checks.
Ah, man, you're really missing out.
No.
Not even for old time's sake?
This is the one check I would write a year to the guy that I'm in a football pool with.
I mean, take a picture of it. Frame it. I mean, who knows, Mark? This could be the last check you ever write. A year from now, you may be like, who knows? It might be outlawed a year from now. I mean, or the only way you can do it is streaming. Since that's where everything is going.
Right.
Just the streaming.
In fact, I'll write the check to the Pac-12. See if it cashes.
I think you should write it to the Pac-4 and see if it cashes.
Do you see Stanford still holding out hope that they can get in the ACC?
So's SMU, apparently. I saw a story last night. Stanford and SMU apparently are both doing the same thing. Well, I will say, SMU's got the 6 guys who apparently are going to bankroll like $400 million. Have you heard what Stanford's endowment is?
I can only imagine.
I don't think you can. I'm pretty sure I'm right with what I'm about to say. It's $18 billion.
Okay.
I mean, the Saudis go, wow, that's a lot of money. I mean, that's an endowment. That's all I'm saying. I mean, Elon and a few guys go, that's some serious coin right there.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And so apparently Stanford's saying to the ACC, listen, don't worry about it. We're good for a while. Really, we can bankroll this. We're fine. Just we need a place. We need to stay Power 5. We need a place. Take us. So, I mean, you got to figure Florida State and Clemson are like, absolutely not. No way. Not possible. even though there's a way for Stanford and SMU to come in, it kicks in certain clauses in their ESPN contract in which the other schools would actually start to make more money. So that's the funny part. Stanford and SMU, Mark, apparently are saying, we'll come for free. The ESPN clause kicks in where ESPN has to kick in full membership share for each of those schools. Yet those schools are not accepting the share. So that's, 30, 40, 50 million that ESPN's throwing extra into the pot. You divvy it up amongst the remaining 14 schools. So, every school, if they take Stanford and SMU's offer,
He's going to get another $4
or $5 million.
$4 million a year.
Right. For the next 5 years anyway. And I think what Stanford and SMU are also trying to argue is, listen, this helps solidify your conference also. You're under attack too. Don't just think short term here, of which we think it's a good. But of course, a lot of those schools are going, yeah, but I'm going to spend, how much of that $3-4 million am I now spending on travel in 20-something sports just to play U and Cal?
The majority of it.
So, but it's an interesting offer. As we have found in the radio business, Mark, people like free. You can sway people with free. So you're in the ACC and Stanford says, listen, we'll come for free. We're not really interested. What part of free did you not hear?
All right. I get all your free and all that stuff, and it's fun. Would you seriously take Stanford in if you were the ACC? If you were a voting president, not an athletic director, a voting president of the ACC, would you accept Stanford, who's now a one-off on the Pacific Coast? I wouldn't. Not a chance.
Not initially, but I do think we have to talk about this long term. That's where I would be. I'd be like, listen, this taking Stanford for 2024 doesn't really interest me. But let's talk about the future of this conference. Mark, there's been way too much noise in the system. If you're one of the 6, 7, 8 schools that are clinging to keep this conference together, you're looking at 6, 7, 8 traitors amongst you. Because apparently we know the 4 schools that have discussed going to the Big 12. We know the 2, 3 schools who have discussed going to the Big 10. And we know the 2 schools that want to go to the SEC. So if I'm the other schools, don't I need to start thinking about, I can't end up like Oregon State and Washington State here. And don't tell me it can't happen. I just watched it happen last week. And that's why I do think that there's more meat on this bone. It's not a terrific short-term idea, but if it actually helps keep this conference together in some way, shape, or form, something is better than being in the history books. And if you don't think the ACC could become part of the history books, the Pac-12 was around for 108 years. It went away in a day. So that's the part of it here where if I'm one of those 6+ other schools, I got to start thinking about, is this part of our plan B that we don't realize we need, but we really do?
And then for the ones that are leaving, well, they've got to be sure that they can dissolve the conference before they get themselves in another conference. Miller and Moulton, the starting 5 is next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark, what was your favorite decade of sports in your lifetime?
Oh, the next one. I'm not someone who sits and remembers past games. That's not my thing.
Well, like the 2000s, you know, you
Got to remember, a lot of these
Tiger
decades I was
Woods.
working in hockey.
That's true. That's true.
So I don't have, you and David are more like that than I am. I'm not someone that plays to the history
Right.
books.
That's-
What's the best game of the next one? That's just the way I am. When you guys start going through games, I'm amazed at your recollection of small parts of games, because I don't have that.
But there's not an era of sports where you're just like, I miss those days.
Oh, when I was a little kid, probably the late 70s through the early 80s.
Who ruled the 80s NHL?
Didn't watch much NHL then. The Islanders, early 80s into Edmonton, because I didn't get it. I didn't have cable. So Edmonton, the Islanders and Edmonton, back to back. Because Edmonton won. What was their first one, David?
84.
The Islanders' first one. Islanders' first one, 80.
80.
Yeah, so the Islanders went 80 to 83, 4 straight, and then Edmonton won 4 of the next 5.
I can't even imagine what today's kid is going to be like when they're your guys' age, because they have access to every single sport.
Right, but I don't think it's as good for sports. We had to watch what was on. You had 3 channels,
That's
man.
a good point. Yeah.
And we actually had this thing called day games. You actually
still have day games.
Not in the playoffs.
But what sport are you referring to?
Baseball.
That's more of like an early round thing. Day games. Like
Yeah, but you had them through the
DS thing.
NLCS. You had day games. I mean, that's
Because I remember, I have memories in high school, like when the Astros, this version of the Astros dynasty started coming up, of getting home from school and then being in like the 5th inning or something. And I just get home from school and I watch the rest of that playoff game, and then I watch the next playoff game. This is more of like a late afternoon, started in the day, but then ended at nighttime game. But one of my favorite memories of watching baseball with my parents was the Jose Bautista home run against the Rangers.
Mhm.
Man,
the bat flip.
Oh, it was me and my parents and my brothers all chilling in the living room watching baseball, and we literally were running around the house. That was one of the best games I've ever seen.
He just retired last week. He signed
Yes,
one of
he
those
did.
one-day Blue Jay contracts.
Yeah. Bautista with a drive. Deep left field, no doubt about it. And then I love it when the stadium the building is shaking so much that they go to the one camera that's literally shaking, bouncing up and down.
Felipe, did you see the Heat on social media, their schedule release announcement yesterday?
Yeah, the resume thing.
Yeah, it's very well done.
Yeah. It's so funny because all the teams have the same two key components, LeBron and Victor. This is when we host the Lakers, and this is when we host the Spurs.
Which is funny because I do not have Wemby fever.
We're going to have to see him play first.
Thank you.
You know, Summer League is Summer League.
He played twice.
Exactly. And he looked awful in his first game, and he admits it. But yeah, we'll see him on an NBA. Let's see him in Madison Square Garden first.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks for waking up with us, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Before we get to the starting five, we were talking about the ACC and how Stanford and SMU are still really pushing the envelope trying to get in. And apparently there are many in the conference that are still seriously considering it. But there are just 4 no votes right now, and they only need 4. So they're blocked. Mark, let me ask you this. If you're a sitting member in the ACC, let's face it, you're North Carolina. This is what the Pac-12 didn't do, couldn't do, wouldn't do, whatever it was with USC. I mean, you've got to go to North Carolina and you got to go, what do you need to stay?
Okay. David, I think you're on to something here. But if you give North Carolina, Florida State and Clemson are wanting more money.
Well, but I've got a plan B, but would you go to North Carolina and say, is this strictly money? Because I don't know if we can get to the 60 million that the SEC and the 70 plus million that the Big Ten's doing. I mean, do we have to reach the Big 12 threshold? Do we have to get 10 million over? What do you need? Because then let's just say you can placate North Carolina. Whatever deal you and I have come up with, do you let Florida State and Clemson leave? Now, I don't mean for free, but I mean, do you just go to the other members and say, we've put a price tag on it, $200 million. They can leave. This will be your last year. You could walk. But you owe us $200 million, and you pay it off however I don't know, $20 million a year for 10 years, whatever it is. You want to leave? Fine. We'll show you the door.
That's interesting. Now because you can change. North Carolina is such a linchpin for this.
Yeah. It's the heart and soul of the conference. It's USC to the Pac-12.
I don't know how giving North Carolina more money would affect the North Carolina States and the Dukes. And I don't know if that matters, David. I really don't. But I would think that the member conferences would want everyone to stay. It would increase their value for their next TV deal. Just letting 2 schools walk, even at that high price point, is fascinating because I don't know if by letting 2 go, you're starting to give the opening for the 4 to go to the Big 12, and what else could happen.
Well, okay, $200 million though. That's $200 million. That's a lot of money. If you're going to the Big 12, you're getting 31.7 a year. Well, 20 of it's going to the ACC for 10 years. So you're jumping to the Big 12 for less than $12 million. I mean, that's like being in the American. That's all I'm wondering. I'm just wondering can you do what the Pac-12 didn't do, which was placate USC, and then just, Oregon, Washington, anybody else wants to leave? Fine, leave, go. Here's the price tag. I'm just wondering because I still think Florida State and Clemson would want to leave. And what we've seen in the past, remember in the old Big 12, the Nebraskas of the world resented the fact that Texas wanted more money.
And got more money.
And the Longhorn Network. And so they left. Well, now you've seen what's happened to a major conference when they didn't placate the alpha in the room. Would Duke and Wake and the other schools be happy about maybe North Carolina being treated special from the rest? Of course they wouldn't. But do they want to no longer be in a Power 5 conference? And if that's what it takes, I mean, if you got to kiss the butt and kiss the ring to keep the band together, don't you do it? I mean, aren't they the lead singer of the band here?
Boy, and those lead singers can be annoying. You're always afraid they're going to leave and go solo.
Right.
And you're just hoping that North Carolina is a band that can stick together, that they're Zeppelin and not the Police. We don't need Sting off doing his own project, David. I think your analogy right there is spot on.
Boy, you hit me right where I live, too. The breakup of the Police crushed me. You had to go there, did you? 17 minutes before the hour. Time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
A journalist in the Dominican Republic by the name of Hector Gomez covers Major League Baseball for a living. He reported yesterday there is a very good chance Wander Franco will never play Major League Baseball again. Obviously, the Dominican Republic, along with Major League Baseball, are conducting parallel investigations into the allegations on social media that Wander Franco has been involved with underage girls. Some bookkeeping yesterday. The Rays activated Andrew Kittredge off the 60-day injured list. He came back from Tommy John surgery. So they're actually getting somebody back from TJ, Mark. And they designated for assignment Hector Perez, who just pitched Wednesday. 27-year-old. Poor guy. It was his first appearance in the majors in like 3 years. He got 1 out, and they released him. Rays and Marlins did not play yesterday. There were only 6 games scheduled, and only 5 got played because the Tigers and the Guardians got rained out. Seattle rallied for 4 in the 8th. Julio Rodriguez, 5 hits, 5 RBIs, including a 3-run shot in the 8th. Mariners come back, beat the Royals 6-4. Washington knocked Chris Sale out of the game in the 5th. They scored 5 in the 5th, beat Boston 10-7. The Dodgers have won 11 in a row. They now have a better record than the Orioles, by the way. Second best record in baseball. They're still 4 behind the Braves. 1-0. Austin Barnes with a solo homer in the 8th to win it for LA. Brewers lead in the Central cut to 2 over the Cubs and Reds, who are both idle. Tommy Pham, a 2-run homer for Arizona. They beat San Diego 3-1. Diamondbacks just a game back in the wild card. I'm not even mentioning the Padres anymore, okay?
Can't.
So you got the Marlins, Reds, and Cubs all tied for the final playoff spot, and Arizona a game back. 4 teams separated by a game for 1 playoff spot. And I think San Francisco is only like a game ahead of them. So it is nuts in the National League. Mets doubled up the Cardinals 4-2. Pete Alonso with a 2-run homer. He's hit 37.
Been crushing it the last, 10, 15 days, too.
Yeah, he had 6 weeks where he was invisible after he got hit by a Charlie Morton pitch and basically had a broken hand, but played through it. Adam Wainwright pitched pretty well. His career is winding down. He took the loss. He's 3-8. The NBA released their schedule yesterday. The season will start Tuesday, October 24th in Denver. Lakers and Nuggets when they raise the banner, followed by Phoenix and Golden State. That'll be your Tuesday night TNT doubleheader. There will be 5 games on Christmas. The Heat will be in prime time, by the way, hosting the Sixers.
Finally,
one of the 5.
Finally, the league giving them respect.
Well, they got a lot of nationally televised games in the schedule that was announced yesterday. 5 games on Christmas, starting at noon. Last games at 10:30. Yep. They're still trying to claim as if, Christmas is a thing. Meanwhile, the NFL's like, we're taking this from
We
you.
stole this from you.
Yeah, you had a good
The
run.
NFL is the Grinch that stole Christmas from the NBA.
That's
The Heat, by the way, start their season, second day of the season, Wednesday, the 25th of October. They host Detroit. Orlando does the same, hosting Houston. Sad news out of the NHL, so to speak. Rick Jenrette, the voice of the Sabres for a very long time. How long? 51 years. He retired just a little over a year ago. Rick died overnight at the age of 81. Jonathan Toews announced, I'm not retiring, but I'm still not 100% healthy. I'm going to take some time off. I still have an urge to play, but I really do need to get 100% if I'm ever going to play again. The unrestricted free agent, the lifetime Chicago Blackhawk, is 35 years old. By the way, what was your favorite Rick Jenrette state?
I loved the La Fontaines. I did. He was spectacular.
Top Shelf, where Mama hides the cookies. Okay, that was, to me, that was kind of like Mike Lang scratch my back with a hacksaw. There's no doubt the old broadcaster, whether it be baseball or hockey, is really missed, at least by some of us. Golf, second leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs. If you care, they're playing the BMW Championship. Nice course, Olympia Fields, outside of Chicago. Brian Harmon, Rory McIlroy, your co-leaders at 5 under. McIlroy shoots a 65. He hit 3 fairways. This is not a pitch and putt either. This is a good track. 3 fairways. He shoots 65. Did you see the birdie he made from the left side of the par 4 on the back 9? He's got no shot. Nothing but trees in front of him. He's in the rough. So what's he going to do? He somehow keeps it low underneath and through the trees and cuts it just a little bit. The ball runs through the front bunker, goes off the back of the green. It's in the heavy stuff in the back. Pins back right. He chips in. It's the best 170-yard up and down you're going to see all year. It really is. 6 guys have shot back, including Wyndham Clark, Scotty Scheffler, and Ricky Fowler. Some guys trying to secure their spots on the Ryder Cup team. Nice group at 2 under, including Spieth, Homa, and Rahm. Lucas Glover, even par.
Even par.
Even par. By the way, Zach Johnson was asked about the LIV golfers on the Ryder Cup team. And he said, I haven't seen any of them play. So don't know how I can judge them. There's only 4 chances I have to see them.
He must have DirecTV.
I was going to say, and apparently he can't travel to an LIV event. There's quite a few of them who are like, no, I haven't talked to him. I mean, he apparently hasn't even picked up the phone. He's had 1 conversation with Dustin Johnson. Hasn't talked to DeChambeau, Reed, Taylor Gooch, nobody.
I'm telling you. There's one guy making it because he's already on the team.
I think Zach is hoping like hell that somehow Koepka falls out of the top 6. That there's a group of guys here that pass him and he finishes 7th. College football news. Auburn named Peyton Thorne, the Michigan State transfer, the starting quarterback.
Good luck with that.
I was just going to say, you saw him play.
2 years ago, he played really well. Last year, he was awful, David.
It kind of
2 years ago, they had this Kenneth Walker guy in the backfield.
Right.
Made things a lot different.
It's funny how that works. Pat Fitzgerald, by the way, did you see he's coaching this year? He's a volunteer coach. He's got 2 teenage sons that are still in high school, and he's a volunteer coach at their high school. Apparently, he passed the background test. I'm being serious. They gave him an extensive background test. He passed it. I wonder if that'll get used in the Northwestern cases that are coming up in the next couple of years. NFL, Dolphins left tackle Teron Armstead. First play of the joint practice with the Houston Texans. Somebody stepped on his right foot as he was backpedaling, and he hurt his right knee. He's a big guy, so he limped off. Didn't look good. He didn't want to put any weight on it, so they brought the cart out for him. So you saw the tweets yesterday, Teron Armstead being carted off. Well, it was kind of a precaution. They didn't want him walking on it. Armstead said, listen, not ideal, but I got 3 weeks to the opener, and I think I'll be okay. We'll talk to David Bearman about it. Bearman, I should say, coming up in a little over an hour. Preseason football last night, Eagles and Browns tied at 18. The game went under by 0.5 point. 2 preseason games tonight, including Bryce Young and Carolina taking on the Giants. And finally, Mark, the D.C. Circuit Court has ordered the Seminole Tribe of Florida to file a response to the West Flagler petition, and they must do so by the end of this month. But that will actually further delay any potential relaunching of sports betting, because the thought was that the court was just going to rule and not wait for a response. So now they won't rule till after Labor Day. And so anyway, and at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So there you go. By the way, the Gators starting center got hurt at practice yesterday. That bears watching. We're 13 days away from Florida at Utah.
And they lost most of their line from last year, so
they
were revamping that line.
Yes, 4 new starters, although they like the new guys a lot. But yes, technically 4 new starters. Mm-hmm.
And they can like them all they want. The continuity is the same on Saturday as it is on Sunday. You don't want to miss your center, basically your captain of the offensive line, with 2 weeks before the first game.
And it's going to be a run-based offense because the strength of the team is the running back room. Absolutely.
And the most physical team you're going to play for a while is Utah. You open with them.
Right.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, sandboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Cats really know how to do.
I know it's a minor injury, but that Armstead thing's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. He's a big guy. He's, their best lineman.
You just can't have him start the season injured.
Well, and it's what happened last year. Remember, right? First game he gets hurt against New England, and he was bothered by that toe the rest of the year. And so now, in theory, he's going to start the year banged up.
Right.
He is one of the 5 most important players on the Miami Dolphins.
Now, I will say they do have Isaiah Wynn, who has played a lot of left tackle before. I think they're thinking about using Wynn at guard, but I do think they have a better fill-in stopgap left tackle this year than they had last year. But yeah, not good. Plus, who do they open with? Chargers? I mean, they can rush the passer.
This just in.
Yeah. They were doing a whole lot of that the last time they faced the Chargers.
Well, that's why they need to run the ball. Run
the damn ball.
Run the ball.
Or just screen to Tyreek Hill. Screen pass to Tyreek Hill. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Football magic numbers are 8, 13, and 20. Week 0 is a week from tomorrow. Week 1 of the college football season, 2 weeks from last night. Lions and Chiefs are 3 weeks from yesterday. 8, 13, and 20. We are doing this. And the injuries, they are piling up. Teron Armstead got hurt. First play of the scrimmage yesterday. Dolphins and Texans. Ouch. Literally. He says, well, don't know how much I was going to play in the preseason anyway. It's just get ready for opening day. And so, we're talking, 23 days from today till they play the Chargers? Ain't got some time here.
There's no doubt that he has time, but this is a guy that's injured a lot, was injured at the start of last season, and never seemed to really recover. He's such a key part of the Miami Dolphins team this year. I'm not panicked. I mean, it's not, hit the panic button, but it is a great cause of concern right now. If I'm a Miami Dolphins fan and I see the left tackle go down 3 weeks before the start of the season, that would freak me out.
And the other thing is that he injured his right knee. His problem knee is his left knee. I mean, that's the knee that's going to bother him for the rest of his life until he gets it replaced. So now you're going to go into the season, you have a bad knee and your other knee is banged up. And he's going to open the season against Bosa and Khalil Mack and the Chargers. So, it's significant. It sounded awful. Teron Armstead carted off. Well, okay. We find out that he walked off the field, gingerly, and they didn't want him putting any more weight on it. So they brought the cart for him to take him into the locker room. Afterwards, he was on crutches. Okay. So, when you hear guy carted off, you're thinking, oh, he's out for the year. It wasn't the case. The cart was, to make life easier on the big fella. Why walk on it when you don't have to?
I got excited that last commercial break, David. We started talking about the Armstead injury and the Dolphins and opening with the Chargers, and I just pulled out the week 1 schedule and said, how am I gonna watch week 1? What games are getting on the TV? What games are getting sound?
Well, did you see, and you got to help me here because I haven't been home for an NFL Sunday in a long time. And I was never a red zone guy. And
no, you like watching games. You like watching the ebb and flow of a game.
Yes. And for some reason, for the longest time, we were based solely out of Southwest Florida. And I felt like I had to watch Bucs and Dolphins games in their entirety. Okay. To be able to talk about those two teams above all others semi-intelligently, I really needed to watch those games instead of just going from red zone, red zone, red zone, red zone. But obviously, for the last, half dozen years, I've been fortunate enough to work on some NFL broadcasts. And so I'm in the booth and we get red zone. And I'm like, oh, wow, now I see why everybody goes cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over this. This is kind of cool. Wow. But I had never taken it in. So, a lot has been made. Red zone is moving, right? They're going to YouTube, right?
Well, I believe you can still get Red Zone on DirecTV. It's the Sunday Ticket's moving.
Gotcha.
To watch all the games. I mean, because
Gotcha.
you can get Red Zone on Comcast. You can get Red Zone. I believe you can still get it on DirecTV. I'm not positive.
Okay, and I know that
DirecTV, so I don't know what their fall package lineup
NFL
is.
Plus too.
So, but yes, you're correct. Sunday Ticket is moving to YouTube. Red Zone is still in multiple places. So YouTube made a big announcement yesterday. And apparently I don't know, they're going to be bigger and better than this has ever been done before. And they're also offering, Felipe, I don't know if you're going to have to lie, but they're offering a student package.
Oh.
Now, you're no longer a student, but
I have used the discount before. I used it recently, actually, to set up my Wi-Fi account. I got $5 off a month because I showed.
Way to go, Felipe.
Old student ID. So for all you youngsters out there listening, which I know there aren't any, keep that student ID for as long as you look like you're young.
There aren't any?
Youngins listening to us right now.
There's not a one, huh? 21,000 if you consider yourself a youngster. And by the way, if you're in Florida, you could be 53 and consider yourself a youngster. But if you're a, quote, youngster.
5 days left. I'm a youngster.
Right? And you feel as if you're disputing what Felipe had to say, feel free to text us at 21,000. Let us know your age.
Across the great state of Florida that's listening under the age of 30, text in right now. That would make us feel good.
Yeah. Even if you're 47 and you feel as if you're
No. An actual youngster.
A student ID. Put it that way. You think you could pass, you could snarf Felipe's student ID and get a discount on Sunday ticket.
I was getting my hair cut yesterday, and the young lady who cuts my hair is the daughter of a friend of mine's wife. And she just yesterday said, boy, you guys have gotten old. I remember when you guys were hip. You guys are all old now. I said, you're right.
Oh, wait. Who's she talking to?
Me? She had scissors in her hand. What am I going to do? Argue with her?
Well, yeah, you're paying.
No, I actually thought she was, you guys used to be, remember when you guys were cool and hip? I said, it doesn't seem like it's that long ago.
Wow, that is cold. Man. And I'm supposed to tip you after that?
I guess I'm not doing a good enough job to make you guys hip again.
Well, especially since we'll fight it at every turn, Felipe. So, you're up against a big challenge here, a big challenge. But so anyway, YouTube made a huge announcement yesterday, Mark. And since you're like leaving DirecTV, I think, is it today, Monday? How much longer do you have for your birthday?
I think I've got a few more weeks left in my DirecTV life, but I will be getting, between now and the first week of the NFL, I'll be getting the YouTube TV.
So 23 days.
Yeah.
So there you go. So you're down to your final 3 weeks.
With a cord. The cord is about to be cut.
Ooh.
So
big moment right there.
It is. It's a really big moment.
What will you be using to stream your YouTube TV? What device?
Well, I'll use the PlayStation on the main TV.
Okay.
Because I've got all my apps on the Netflix and Amazon Prime and all that stuff. And then I'll get a couple of Fire Sticks for the other TVs.
So when you use the PlayStation, are you using a PlayStation remote or the media remote? Because there is a media remote for the PlayStation.
I did not know that. I use the PlayStation remote.
Are you guys speaking English right now? What is it you're talking about? Honestly, I have no idea what you're talking about. Did we just switch? Are we talking non-sports here? What?
More of this show will have cut the cord than will be with the cord here very soon.
Well, are you sure of that? I understand that a week or so ago was the first time nationally that the amount of people who still had the cord went under 50% for the first time ever. What do you think it is with sports viewership? Do you think that it's actually greater than or less than? I mean, we've been talking about for weeks now, more and more sports being put on streaming, and Big Ten fan yesterday realized what we realized the day earlier, how many Big Ten games, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, are going to be on Peacock. And boy, are they happy. See, and once again, I'm sorry, Big Ten fan, and by Big Ten fan, I mean Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. Cash the checks and shut up. Okay? You can't have it both ways. If you want the money, then you have to agree to the terms.
And see, how the networks are going to get the money is by getting you to subscribe to Peacock.
Right. So that's how it works. You want to make more money than the SEC. You want to make 2.5 times what the Big 12's making. Guess what? Some of your games are going to be on Peacock. That's just how it works. Why? Because NBC's got to pay the bills. And if you really think they're breaking even on $300+ million a year for Wisconsin, Iowa at 7:30 at night, are you kidding? No, ain't happening. Listen, I'll make your prediction right now. A year from now, you'll find some Big Ten games on Paramount, because that's when CBS gets a full Big Ten schedule. And they're going to need to pay for their $300+ million a year. And that Penn State Michigan State game at 3:30 is just not going to cut it. And by the way, do you really think a year from now, when ESPN has all 16 SEC teams and only ESPN? I mean, can we count the channels that they have out loud? ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, SEC Network, ABC. That's 5, right? Okay, 16 teams. You don't think there are going to be SEC games on? Wait for it. ESPN Plus? Damn right there will be.
They are training the viewer to get to their streaming services. These are investments to get you to download and pay for their streaming services. They know where the direction of where their business is going, and they've got to get you there. And they've got to get you to pay for it. And how do you do that? You put some marquee teams on Peacock.
It's essentially pay-per-view. It's masked as a streaming service because you get everything else that the provider provides, even though you're not interested in it. But it's basically pay-per-view.
I've done a fine job living without Peacock for quite a while. But when my alma mater on September 30th is playing against Iowa, I want to watch that game. So what am I going to do? I'm going to spend the $9.95 or $11.95 or whatever the hell it is, and I'm going to buy Peacock.
Peacock. You better do it 2 weeks earlier because I think they moved the Week 3 Washington game against Michigan State to Peacock also. So make sure you
Peacock.
Make sure you don't wait till the end of the month. You need it by the middle. When you're switching from DirecTV to YouTube, okay, you may want to consider also at the end of the month, you got the Ryder Cup. Who knows if they put some of those matches on there? Although I think you're right. I think they'll put it on USA Network. But there's a chance. You never know. Miller and Moulton. The play of the day. You'll like it. Coming up.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That's so true. It is pay-per-view.
It always was
It's
paper.
just-
What's cable?
It's pay-per-view. But it's masked as streaming, but it's just pay-per-view. Now, PlayStation, you mean PlayStation 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have this for that, or is that a PlayStation 5 thing you're talking about? This?
No, they have for the PlayStation 4.
What is it called? It's a media.
It's a media remote, like so that you don't have to use the gaming remote with the sticks and stuff. This one is more of like a regular looking remote.
So many damn remotes as it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of technology out there.
Can't wait to get rid of the DirecTV remotes.
Oh, that big honker of a remote. You don't got to type in numbers anymore. Think about that. How many times you've gone to channel numbers in your entire life? Never have to do that ever again.
I like channel numbers.
I like it too. I mean, you know,
I memorize them.
Keeps everything in order. But now it knows.
Yeah,
what you want to watch.
I've had no problem navigating. I've really had no problem while doing a show finding the World Cup, and
this has been a great, like, sort of
test project.
Exactly. Yeah, trial, if you want to call it that. And yeah, this is just a Fire Stick.
FGCU Saber there. Is there a big difference between the Roku stick and the Fire Stick?
Not really. It's the same thing. I mean, you know.
So do you need the stick because you have more than one TV?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It really all depends on with the Roku stick and the Fire Stick is which remote you like better. I kind of like the Fire Stick remote.
This is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's small.
As long as I get gymnastics is all that really matters.
That's on ESPN Plus, no?
U.S. championships are this weekend. So my wife asked me yesterday. She goes, "Did you talk a lot of gymnastics?" I said, "That's really was a dominant topic on the show, honey."
We should bring her on. We should break it down. Okay. It'd be like we used to bring John on for Guests of Network. Did you see the suggestion earlier this week with where all the games are going? We really should bring back Guests of Network. It's not a bad idea.
So it's just a sporting event, and you have to guess the network. It's on.
With just football games, we used to have we'd do it with our producer, with John. We'd have him guess the network, play the match game theme in the background.
And he was all into it too. Like, I mean, that was his thing. And he would figure out, okay, well, that's a whatever game, so that's an ESPN game, and then we would the key usually was the time. Okay, because he knew how the networks operated and what network then they'd want to put what games on. Yep.
That sounds fun.
We're a year away from it being really good because the streaming will even be more rampant next year.
Totally.
Yes.
Where you don't know if it's going to be ESPN Plus. I mean, because just the SEC,
Peacock, Paramount.
Because it's pretty easy. It's just like you said, you got 4 networks.
Technically 5. Yeah. ESPN, ESPN2,
Amazon Prime.
ESPNU, SEC Network, and ABC. I mean, they can put SEC games on 5 over-the-air networks before they have to stream it.
By the way, how long till college football is on Amazon Prime too?
I don't know. It'd be a while.
They don't have a relationship.
They don't have a relationship with the conference.
They can build one. Got to start somewhere.
They got to buy one, and these conferences, the deals are all tied up.
Yeah, that's true.
They had their chance with the Pac-12.
Watch North Dakota State on.
But Hops,
Amazon Prime.
The Buckeye fans not going to not get Peacock for one game. I'm telling you right now.
Why do you think they're putting the Notre Dame Tennessee State game on Peacock? They know that there's over 1 million Notre Dame fans that'll spend the money to watch that one game.
It's $10.
Yeah. And so NBC's like, huh.
Then you got half of them that won't be smart enough to cancel it before the next month, and then they get 10 more bucks out of them.
Right. And they'll be like, huh, we pay Notre Dame $22 million a year. We made $22 million just on the Tennessee State game.
Boy, did the...
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Bearman, Pro Football Network, with a focus on the Dolphins, will join us in 40 minutes' time in light of the Teron Armstead injury yesterday. Pat Kirwan will join us a little more than an hour. He's been all over this country, literally. Been to like a half a dozen training camps since we last talked to Pat. So we'll catch up with Pat in a little more than an hour. There was a preseason game last night, Mark. I hate preseason football. You tolerate it. We both pay attention to the injuries. The Eagles got a bunch of guys hurt yesterday. A couple of them they fear serious. But did you see or hear about the final 2 minutes of the 18-18 tie? Cade York is the kicker for the Browns. And he had a straight on 46, 47-yard field goal to take the lead. And he missed it wide right. Oh, okay. Not ideal. Penalty on the Eagles. I don't know. Some guy, was too close to the center. Got called for. So they moved it up 5 yards. So now this, 41.5-yard field goal. I mean, come on, NFL. I mean, you got to make this. Never mind, there's no elements, no nothing, Yeah, missed it. So he had back-to-back chances to kick the field goal to put him ahead, and he missed it. Cade York, you good, supposedly good young kicker, strong leg from out of LSU a couple years ago. They just signed him to like the 4-year deal, guaranteed $1 million a year. This is their kicker of the future. Yeah, Robbie Gould is sitting home unemployed. I mean, you've got $14 million left under the cap if you're the Browns. I mean, the Cowboys are having another
in a preseason game. You're cutting the kicker.
Listen, apparently this is a problem with him. I'm just saying. Ask a Browns fan. Ask a Cowboys fan, by the way, why it is that they're going with the guys that they've been bringing in after they got rid of Maher there, who missed the 19 extra points in the Bucs playoff game. So we've talked about this. If there's a bunch of teams who still have 10 to 20 million in cap room available, I just want to know how you can justify your job if you lose a game because of a missed kick, because you went cheap on a kicker and Robbie Gould sitting at home.
Problem is they didn't really go cheap on their kicker.
They gave him $1 million. I mean, they have to give him $700,000. I mean, they didn't,
But they're locked, and it's low money, but they're locked in for a couple of years. That's really more of what I'm saying.
This is just a pet peeve of mine.
I know. David, go get an Ndamukong Suh if you're the Cleveland Browns, okay? Stick to your original plan. If you're going to spend the money, I'd rather have someone that's going to be on the field for 50 plays as opposed to someone that's going to be on it for 5. I know the 5 are important, but I'm not going to lose my mind over 2 kicks missed in the preseason.
Okay. And you know me, we're getting both. I'm getting Sue for 8, and I'm getting Robbie Gould for 4 with incentives, and we still have a couple, 2-3 million underneath, and let's go. Hell, I'll keep Cade York around for kickoffs. I'll let Cade York kick anything that's 55 plus. Sure. What the heck? I would never lose a game. I would never lose a game because I went cheap on a long snapper, punter, or kicker. It's a pet peeve of mine. Would never do it.
I got you. The other side of this that you've not taken into account on air, and I know you think of, so I'm not trying to say it that way, is that I do think now that the league has turned into the Moulton-esque league, that means we trade players.
Right.
When you have money on the cap, you don't need to spend it all because there are going to be players and situations available at the trade deadline. And if you think you're an aggressive team, you've got to have some money to make that move 4 or 5 weeks into the season.
Well, Aaron Rodgers said it publicly. He was asked, why'd you do the salary cut? He said, because I want us to have money available at the trade deadline. And people immediately thought he was making room for Devontae with the Raiders. But Now the thought is he might be making room for Bakhtiari with the Packers.
What did he include him on an Instagram story the other day, or tagged him on an Instagram story that's got everybody freaking out? Social media is great to make NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA media just completely lose their mind.
Do you know what this is the equivalent of? Do you remember back in the day when they used to track the private planes where you wanted to know if a coach was literally seeking out another job and if he was going to leave and what have you? And it started when they were tracking Tuberville from going from Ole Miss to Auburn, and they were tracking his private plane. That's what I feel like people on social media now. Oh, so-and-so liked, Harden liked a tweet from a teammate on the Sixers. Maybe there's still a chance he'll stay.
I mean, who needs FBI agents when you just have that random Twitter user?
Exactly.
Who just finds out everything.
Can turn a conspiracy theory out in a matter of seconds now.
And we like conspiracy theories in this country. We're all in.
Yes, we are.
Real or imagined. 27 minutes after the hour. I say it's time for the play of the day.
Let's get to it. Felipe, what do you have for us today?
Well, per request of Mark Miller, a legendary broadcaster for the National Hockey League, passed away last night. Rick Jeanneret. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. You're not a hockey guy.
Yeah, I'm not.
I was worried about you there. I was worried about you there.
I was just going to pass it off to you, honestly, because you know more about this legendary broadcaster than I do. And we were going to honor him with his most legendary call.
And this was his most legendary call, as voted on by Sabres fans. Overtime goal from 1993. Rick Jeanneret, the longtime voice of the Buffalo Sabres. And here's the call.
The LaFontaine, he gets tripped up, gets it to May, and over the line. Here's May going in on goal. He shoots. He scores! Brad May wins it in overtime. Brad May, Buffalo sweeps the Bruins.
They sweep the Bruins. It was their first playoff series win in 10 years and sent them to the second round, overtime winning 6-5 over the Bruins. And as Jeanneret said, he kept exclaiming, Mayday, Mayday, until he could think of something else to say.
I counted 5 Maydays.
That's right.
And by the way, if you want to talk about the goal itself, it was just a filthy,
It
nasty,
was
disgusting. Deke to the left, hold Hezzy, shot right at the top where Mama keeps the cookie jar.
And it was through Ray Bourque, a Hall of Fame defenseman, that he made the move. So it was a spectacular goal. And since there wasn't a lot of plays last night, Felipe, I walked in, I said, what do you got for play of the day? He goes, I've got nothing. I said, I've got you covered, big fella. We'll go a little Rick Jeanneret and go old school.
I love the fact that Felipe also worked in. He got it almost all right. He worked in one of Rick Jeanneret's other famous calls, Top Shelf, where Mama hides the cookies. Look at that. Way to go, Hooper. Good effort by you. Doing a quick scouting report on Rick Jeanneret, the legendary Sabres broadcaster, passed away overnight at the age of 81.
And that is our play of the day here on Miller and Moulton. Text lines are open at 21,000. Felipe, there are a few people who are under the age of 30 that are listening to the show this morning.
Really?
Yeah!
Let's go! What's up, dog?
Is this where I say, hey, those are Felipe's peeps?
Oh, boy.
Trying to make Miller and Moulton hip again.
It can't be done.
Good luck with that.
The hip train has left, Felipe. It is just on to senior citizen discounts, early bird dinners, and the occasional happy hour.
Add those student discounts in.
By hip train, do you mean hip replacement or hip? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What in the hell does he have now? Looks like the deli's open. Yes, Adam, in his key move is he would throw a slice of ham that would hit the guy in the face and then come with a flying elbow. I love it.
Well, the story we did yesterday with what? A bruschetta? Okay, I throw it on the mat, you'd slip and fall on it, and I'd jump on you and pin you. Because apparently, all right, you can take a person down
with a little prosciutto.
Right, that too. I just sent a text to my daughter, future son-in-law, that said, "Hey, I'm unavailable today. You guys going to be okay?" I am loving the hell out of this. I really am. Oh. You got anything here?
No, and I'm looking.
Okay.
Interesting. I got this article here that none of these guys in an athletic article are taking Lucas Glover on the team.
Why not?
Brendan Quinn, Brody Miller, and Hugh Kellenberger are the three panelists, if you will. And they're not taking Finau either. They're all taking Ricky Fowler, but none of them are taking Glover. Nah, I don't even think it's a realistic conversation right now. When building a team, you have to play a player's entire resume, miss 20 cuts and 28 starts. A five-week heater doesn't erase 2 years of reality.
10 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, David Bearman, Pro Football Network, will join us top of the hour. Pat Kirwan, 1 hour from now. He's been everywhere. Jacksonville, Seattle, a couple points in between. We'll catch up on his training camp tours and what he's seen. Coming up 1 hour from now. It is, after all, a Football Friday.
Football Friday. Sorry, I was late.
That's fine. 8 days away from week 0, 13 days away from week 1 of the college football season, 20 days away from Lions and Chiefs in Kansas City.
I was the center there that thought the count was on 2. Everybody else went on 1. I'm still holding the ball there, David.
It's okay. It's tough for you to then blame everyone else, though.
Right. 1st and 15, everyone. 1st and
Right.
15.
My bad. We'll
That's
try
on
it
me.
again. Yep. Can we do it on 2 next time? That's what I'm expecting. Yep. Hey, you and I got into this a little bit yesterday, and before we get into it again, did you see what DeChambeau did yesterday? So the LIV Tour had played back-to-back tournaments, and so they're not playing for a while. I don't know when they play again, to be honest. So DeChambeau finds himself in Cherry Hill, which I believe is Colorado. And that's the course where Arnie won his U.S. Open at.
Okay.
And Arnie famously drove the first hole, which was like a 340-yard par 4, in which he stormed from 7 shots back in 1960 and ended up winning his U.S. Open. That was the only one he won. Had some heartbreaking U.S. Open losses, but that was his remarkable U.S. Open win. So DeChambeau, and they've been talking about this more and more because the RNA and the USGA both are going to change their tournament golf ball in 2026. They're going to make the ball go less far. The PGA Tour has already come out and said, yeah, we're not on board for that. Sorry. But right now, the RNA and the USGA, so the 2 Open championships, will be played as of now, beginning in 2026, with a different golf ball. Okay. And there's been talk about, hey, could we put these guys and maybe have them play one tournament with like old clubs? Like, you know, a persimmon driver, something like that. I mean,
yeah, we're not going back to hickory shafts here. We're just going back a couple of generations.
Right. And so DeChambeau showed up at Cherry Hill yesterday with a persimmon driver. And he's in, shorts and a golf shirt. And he just said to the guys there, he goes, hey, can you just let me hit a couple here? I'm just curious. And apparently he got it pin high. 346 with a persimmon driver on the first hole at Cherry Hill. Now, there's altitude involved and what have you, but still. I have to admit, I don't know if we need to do 72 holes. Okay, but
no, but you want to do the match, and you want to put something on television, and you want to put 4 golfers on TV and get me interested in one of those things.
Yes.
Then do something completely different. Let them play with equipment from the 90s, and let us watch these guys maybe not be so damn long and so damn perfect. Or if they are, we can be amazed by that in and of itself.
That what do they call it? Iron Byron?
Yes.
And that's where they test out the balls and the clubs. And it's supposed to be, the computer, it's the perfect swing every time. Well, many years ago, the guy running it was talking with Jack, and Jack had some old clubs. And the guy said, hey, can I test out, the equipment that you played with? And apparently the ball went sideways damn near. I mean, it was consistently offline with testing out his 7-iron and his 4-iron and what have you. I mean, the ball didn't go straight at all. Hardly ever. And the guy literally looked at Jack and said, how the hell did you play with this? And Jack was like, I don't know. I did fine.
How fine are you going to be? I read an article just during that break, just kind of went through an article. Something caught my eye there about Ryder Cup picks, since we're talking a little golf. And The Athletic did a story with 3 of their golf writers going yay or nay for the captain's picks. For the record, all 3 of them said no. I mean, without question, to Lucas Glover.
Really?
Said it's not even an argument. There wasn't, one of them did say, in 2 weeks, this could be different if he keeps it up. But they all have nay as the answer. And at the same time, all 3 of them say Justin Thomas is a yay.
Well, if you read between the lines of what Zach Johnson was saying yesterday, it sounds like he's going to go with JT. It does.
Now, JT has a terrific Ryder Cup and President's Cup record. He's 16-5-3 in international team play. But I thought you had to earn your spot on these teams. He didn't come close to earning his spot. He didn't even make it to the second stage of the FedEx Cup.
So the top 6 get automatic spots. Right now, the top 6 for the U.S., I believe, the list I have in front of me, Mark, is Scheffler, Wyndham Clark, Patrick Cantlay, Brian Harman, Koepka, Homa. That's the 6. Schauffele is a close 7th. And I wonder if Schauffele and Homa could combine to knock Koepka out of the top 6. I mean, they got 2 events to do it. Koepka can't earn any more points. Koepka's been sliding down the list. He didn't have a great Open Championship. And so, Koepka at one point was 3rd on the points list. He's now up 5th. And 6 and 7 are not that far behind him.
And this article basically says that Koepka's on the team. I mean, even if he doesn't qualify, this is saying that Scheffler, Wyndham Clark have already automatically qualified. That Cantlay, Harman, Koepka, Homa, Schauffele, and Jordan Spieth are basically in.
Okay, so there's 8. So 8 are on it. He's got 4 more. Cam Young, who's not had a good year.
They all have no on Cam Young for what it's worth.
And he's 9th on the points list. Morikawa's 10th, who also, didn't he blow the 6-shot lead on Sunday to Rahm in the Tournament of Champions, and he's not had a good year since?
They all have yay on Morikawa for what it's worth.
Keegan Bradley's 11th.
And Keegan is, I believe, kind of leafing through this quickly because they're all over the place with the order you're going in. Keegan Bradley is a no for all three of them.
Well, and I don't know if this matters or not, but Keegan Bradley is slow. And I don't know if that gets taken into consideration at all when you're making picks or not. Whether or not, because would you have to pair Bradley with Cantlay and say, well, they're the two human rain delays here, we'll put them together?
But for the record, they all say no on DeChambeau. 2 of the 3 say no on DJ.
Ricky Fowler's 13th.
They all say yay on Fowler, by the way, because
Justin
he's been hotter. And that's
Yep. Justin Thomas is 14th.
And they all say yay on JT.
For the record, Lucas Glover 16th. Tony Finau has dropped all the way to 21st, and he opened with a 4 over 74 yesterday. I don't think Tony Finau has a chance to be on this team, nor should he. He's had one top 30 finish in the last 5 months. And that was at that 3M championship at that easy course in the Twin Cities.
That he won the year before, so
right.
Horses to courses, and that's somewhere he likes to play.
And the only other guy in the top 14 that we didn't discuss, I'm curious, Sam Burns is 12th. I'm guessing there were no on Sam Burns, but who knows?
They were.
So they're not going with Cam Young at 9 and Sam Burns at 12 and Keegan Bradley at 11. So they're bypassing 9, 11, and 12. They're going with the top 8. Then they're going with Ricky and Justin. Well, that only means 10. See, you could see why this is why this gets a little. I'm telling you, you sure you're not going to take DJ?
Like I said, one of them has DJ. Morikawa is another one they're all yes on.
All right, so the top 8, Morikawa at 10, that makes 9. Ricky, they're a yes at is 10. Justin, they're a yes that's 11. So, okay, we got one spot left.
I'm sorry, 2 of the 3 have Cam Young. The other one has DJ.
Gotcha. So they're basically going with the top 10 and then Ricky and JT. I'm fine with Ricky. He's been terrific all year. I don't know if he'll make any big putts in a big spot. He never has, but he's at least played well all year.
But he has in the Ryder Cup. That match he halved coming back and making bombs to do it. Fowler has made big putts in this event.
And I will say this with Justin Thomas, because you don't know if he's going to shoot 66 or 81. So you can't play him in alternate shot, but you can play him in best ball.
And you're going to play him with Spieth.
Right. They're both going to be all over the course, laughing it up. They both are a walking birdie and a bogey. So put them together. They like each other. They've played well before. What's he like? 6-2-1, 7-2-1, something like that, JT, in his Ryder Cup career?
So, little Ryder Cup there, as we've got 2 weeks left in the FedEx Cup before they make their decisions as who to pick for the captain's picks in this year's Ryder.
And right now, the only thing Europe's committed to is they're going with Rory, Rahm, and Hovland. They're like, after that, we have no idea. But we can guarantee you those 3 are going to be on the team.
Well, I think they've guaranteed you that Sergio's not.
Yeah. Oh, well, by rule,
they already did.
Right. And
So
Zach
we know
Johnson,
they're anti-live and pro-Rory.
correct. And I think to appease John Rahm, they brought Jose Maria Olazabal, another Spaniard, on as a vice captain, somebody that he can hang and drink wine with. Because he wanted Sergio, so they said, well, we'll bring you a Spaniard. He just won't play.
21,000 is the text line, 21000 if you want to chime in on the show. The Great 8 is coming up. Pat Kirwan and David Bearman to talk a little Dolphins as well in our 8 o'clock hour upcoming.
I'm tempted, but I won't do it. I'm tempted to watch Kyle Trask with the ones over the weekend. I am tempted. All right, because if there's any chance that it's somebody not named Baker Mayfield, and this will be the game where the ones probably play the most. So he'll be given probably a quarter and a half, maybe 5 series he'll get with the ones, 4 or 5 series. There's a part of me that's curious. Okay.
There's one simple key for Kyle Trask in that game. Don't throw a pick. That would be a huge, huge start for Kyle Trask. Because he's turned it over too much in opportunities when he's been given the opportunity. I don't think he has any chance of starting, but he would have to be really good and for sure not turn it over.
I wonder if, because I agree with you, Baker's going to start the opener. But I wonder if Kyle has a chance to show that, hey, if we get off to a 1-3 start, we really can turn it over to this guy. He's not half bad. Is that what Kyle Trask is playing for at this stage?
I certainly think you're onto something, David, because you look at Atlanta last year. They played around with Mariota up until, and it was a little later in the season, but all of a sudden they go in that spot. They were, I think, 3-4, and then they end up 3-4 or 4-5 or whatever it was. They lost 3 games in a row, and it was time to put Ritter in, see what you got. That division's going to be very similar this year, and that it's the first 1 to 9 to win it. But at what point do you think you're out of it, and you've got to see what you got out of the young quarterback?
So Kyle Trask gets his shot over the weekend. Is it worth watching an hour of preseason football for? I don't know.
What else are you going to do? Babysit?
If I'm ever allowed to again. I am a guy, after all. That makes me a moron.
Yeah.
Capital moron.
But you watched that kid yesterday and were able to pull off a practical joke on both your son-in-law and your daughter. So they can call you moron all you want. One in the win column for Moulton, one in the loss column for the daughter. That's how we divide things up here. It's all wins and losses, folks. Pat Kirwan is next right here. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know what? We both go. Listen, I don't know if anybody listening is going to appreciate this, but we both go through ruts, and we both have strengths, and we both have weaknesses, and we're both weak at teasing. Okay, Mark's better at coming up with the teases. Okay, I'm better at remembering, hey, we got something coming up next.
I wrote it down wrong.
Okay.
I wrote it down so I had it, and I wrote it down wrong.
And I doubt there's any way for any of you who watch us regularly to notice this, but Mark's had about a 2-week run here where he's taking us to break and we've got something coming up next, and he's not teasing it. He forgets that we got something coming up next. So today he's like, I got it. And we got 2 football guests in the 8 o'clock hour. Okay. And Mark says,
I wrote them down backwards.
And so Mark made some down backwards. And I'm just laughing because it's like a guy who the last 2 weeks he just can't hit his wedge. Okay,
Can't make a 3-foot putt to save my ass.
God Almighty! So Hobbs, very quickly, I had to watch the grandkid yesterday, and I had to pick her up solo from daycare. And for basically the whole family didn't think I could do it. So, and since I'm a guy, I'm a moron. I can't watch a child. And it's funny because I really thought I had already watched one grow up. But anyway, so I forget the listener in our Twitch chat room, because we did a segment on it yesterday, who said, hey, make sure you punk them. And
they had one line, we improved on it a little bit.
But they basically said, hey, like an hour after the time you were supposed to pick her up, make sure you send out a text that go, hey, wait a minute, was I supposed to pick her up today? So that's what I did. Freaked them the blank out.
Oh, thanks, Bob. Glad you enjoyed it.
Thanks for being part of it.
Speaking of which, did you get the email I sent you yesterday?
I got the email, so I'll just wait for the money to appear and do the math. So, and that's just the money from the website.
Correct.
Right. And then you'll divvy up the other money. So, yeah, sure. Because also I got to get final total from not that I think it's going to be that different than what we budgeted, but with 5 no-shows.
Yeah, but we've put in for the food, so they'll still charge you for it.
Right. I tipped them, by the way. So I figured that people would leave money for their servers anyway, but
because most everybody drank, so they were running checks all through the room.
So
here we go.
Okay.
Do we have David?
I'm getting him.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits 1 hour from now in the 239. We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Pat Kirwan to join us coming up in about 35 minutes. He's gone coast to coast in the last week since we last spoke to him, from Jacksonville to Seattle and a few points in between. So we'll get his training camp tours coming up in roughly 35 minutes time. David Bearman's kind enough to join us once again here at Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. You can follow David on Twitter at David Bearman, Bearman PFN. David Bearman PFN. David, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm just hoping that some of the sunshine from your lovely state of Florida comes this way, because we've seen nothing but rain and clouds this week up in Connecticut.
Well, if you want some, we'll certainly pass it out. Hey, I'm trying to talk Dolphins off the ledge about the Teron Armstead injury, but I understand when your left tackle is, quote, carted off, unquote, that's a really bad look. I'm taking it as they did that as a precaution. They didn't want the big fellow walking on his knee, which he just injured. Am I underselling this?
No, you're right, because Adam Beasley from Pro Football Network was there live in Houston, and he thought the same thing when they brought out the card. Bad news, tweeted it out. We did a story on it right off the bat. Whenever the guy who's injured a lot, as you know, over the course of the years, hasn't really played a full season, gets carted off, it's never a good thing, especially since what we talked about last week with the Dolphins offensive line, depth not being great, the team taking a risk and not signing multiple linemen and going with the same guys that they drafted year over year. But at the end of the day, he tweeted out a video, Instagram, whatever the kids call it nowadays, of him walking fine. He was a little bit on crutches, but they also said that surgery is not needed. A couple of NFL outlets, including Cam Wolf from NFL Network, tweeted out that surgery is not needed. So he should be ready to go week one. So I understand the panic. The panic is always going to be there, guys, when it comes to Armstead and his injury history and the Dolphins' weak offensive line, because call it what it is. The most important thing for the Dolphins is to keep Tua upright and healthy. And without your block of an offensive lineman, and your all-pro potential Hall of Famer, that becomes a problem. So the panic was justified, but I'm here to tell you that it no longer needs to be a panic, because if he says he's okay, Hill says he's okay, and they said that no surgery is needed, we should be all right. It's just something the Dolphin fans are going to have to deal with, because this guy is what it is. He's a great lineman when he's in, and he's often injured. And you could see the frustration in him yesterday from everybody at practice, saying that he was really upset, which has also led to more panic. Was he was really angry. But I think he's just sick and tired of being injured all the time. So he is older. He's going to come with that baggage, but I think Dolphin fans can take a little bit of a deep breath and say, okay, he's fine for now.
When Armstead played, Dolphin quarterbacks were sacked on 4% of the plays. When he was out, the sack percentage went to 9%. I mean, literally it over doubles when he's not in the lineup. So there's the reason for panic. But David, which offensive line are you more concerned with, the Jets or the Dolphins? Which one's in worse shape?
I think overall, talent-wise, it's the Jets is in worse shape. I think talent on the offensive line. But with everything, it comes down to injuries, and that's across the board in the National Football League. If you lose 3 of your 5 linemen to injury, and you're playing Russian roulette out there with just rolling people in and out, and third stringers you've never heard of before, it's never going to be good, because you just threw the stat out there. With Armstead, it was a completely different offensive line. And I think the Dolphins have the pieces to make it work, but that margin is very, very slim. I would basically say overall, the Jets is in worse shape, but the Dolphins have less margin of error, because even though the Jets' offensive line isn't good, they have the ability to move pieces around a little bit better than the Dolphins do.
He's David Bearman, covers the NFL for Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. Follow him on Twitter, David Bearman, Bearman PFN, David Bearman PFN. We are constantly focusing on that side of the ball with the Dolphins, even though the early part of the offseason was spent on focusing on the change they made at defensive coordinator. Is maybe the undersold story so far in camp that the Dolphins defense looks the way it did when Brian Flores was running it 2 and 3 years ago? Because from all accounts, David, the Dolphins defense looks top 10 in the league in August anyway.
It absolutely does. And if you go back a few years to the Brian Flores defense, you're talking about a defense that was top 5 in the league consecutive years that kind of disappeared the last couple of years, whether it be injuries to Howard or just not the right mix of people or not the right defensive coordinator with which the Dolphins fixed in the offseason. And I was on VSiN 2 weeks ago, and one of the hosts teed up a question very similar to yours. The only thing he added was that the hiring of Vic Fangio might have been the best offseason move any team in the AFC made, period. And it wasn't a player. It was the DC and Vic. So that's a pretty bold statement, and it absolutely could be true. I was talking to Adam Beasley, our Dolphins reporter, this morning, and he said that the number 2 story out of camp outside of the Armstead injury scare is, in fact, that the defense looks incredible, and that's minus all-pro Jalen Ramsey, who only played 1 day before getting injured. So the defense looks outstanding right now, not only versus themselves playing against the Dolphins' first-string offense, which we know is going to be good, but also what they've shown so far versus Houston and what they showed last week in the preseason game versus Atlanta. So right there and then, if that defense is as good as advertised, this is a Dolphins playoff team, regardless of what the offense does, because we've seen defenses lead teams to the playoffs before. You add the fact that you have weapons galore on offense. If you keep the healthy quarterback, you have a contender, because the defense looks solid right off the bat with a new DC.
With Ramsey gone, how's the battle going at corner? I know Apple and the young guy are going at it. What are you seeing there?
I think at the end of the day, you're going to probably see Apple. He's the more veteran of the guy, but Noah's picked up some pieces here and there. I know he's not someone the Dolphins have wanted to count on in the past, but he's looked decent in camp, minus the one viral video that went the other day with one of the Texans receivers burning him deep. At the end of the day, it'll probably be Apple, which wouldn't surprise me. That's the reason they went and got him. But you also there's talk out there that Ramsey's not going to miss much time. So when you're talking about getting a guy like Jalen Ramsey back and Eli Apple being in camp, that shows the depth of the defense. And it's good to know that Christian Wilkins is not injured. He's just sitting out because of the contract situation, which I totally assume is going to be taken care of before the season starts. You haven't heard anything out of Dolphins camp that would lead you to believe they're not going to pay the guy. And the way Wilkins has talked during the preseason, during the camp, I think he'll play regardless. It's just he's smart to not play in the preseason. Like, who wants to have an Armstead injury or any of the other preseason things that's going along? As you've watched games, even last night, watching the Browns-Eagles game, look how many injuries they had last night. You just don't need that with a guy who's waiting on a contract. So I think with all the pieces in place on defense, the Dolphins are going to be a top 5, if not even higher defense, which will no doubt keep them in games regardless of what the high-powered offense does.
David, I have to admit I'm a little surprised the deal hasn't gotten done for a variety of reasons. One, there's apparently no angst on either side of the negotiating. Two, the market's been pretty established this offseason. I mean, if you've got a stud interior defensive lineman, you pretty much know what you got to pay them. I mean, it's almost like the top 10 draft picks. We kind of know what you're getting paid here. And also, they've got money under this year's cap even, and they're probably planning on moving on from Xavier Howard after this year. So they'll have 15 plus million available next year when they move on from him. I'm really surprised they don't have a deal.
It is curious from that fact that you know what the market is. You've seen all the guys that have signed. You can pretty much close your eyes and predict of the potential 4 years, $80 million with 65 guaranteed is probably going to be in the wheelhouse that it's going to be. I'm no capitologist, but you see what the market is, and that's what the market is. As for why it hasn't gotten done, you respect is not pressuring the team, which is a positive thing. If you look around the NFL, how many other players are not in camp and pressuring the team to sign them? I do think the salary cap is the factor here. If you are right, like Xavier Howard, if that does happen, then they will have the money, but maybe they haven't made that decision yet. And that could be what it is, because without that decision, you have major cap problems next year. We all know that. That's the elephant in the room is what are the Dolphins going to do to keep this team together because they're going to have to pay multiple people. But the first block is Wilkins. You have nothing if you don't have him. So I still think it gets done. Even if it doesn't get done right off the bat, he's going to play. This is not a guy who's holding out of spite. He's holding out because, quite frankly, why play if you don't have a long-term contract in the preseason? Play in the regular season, but I think they get it done because, quite frankly, you need them. And the last thing you want is to have a guy go out there and play tentatively because of the contract situation. So I firmly believe it gets done before week 1. As for why there's no rush, to me, the only factor could be they have not decided what they're going to do with the salary cap next year because they know it's a problem.
All right. There's a article on your website, profootballnetwork.com, that you're a part of. In fact, they call you one of our NFL betting experts. It's a trick question because can you be a betting expert that offers sound preseason advice? Because this is the sign of a true degenerate, and we mean that as a term of endearment, David. Give us one week 2 preseason bet.
I like, and I do take the name degenerate seriously. It's a compliment in some ways.
Yes, you're damn right it is.
It's a compliment in many ways, and I'll go on record as saying that preseason betting is not for everybody. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I dive into preseason betting like I dive into regular season betting or any of the other sports that I bet like golf. But there is money to be had. You did ask the question, and I'm going to throw it out there that I like the Tennessee Titans this week. And I'll tell you why. For one, the next time the Minnesota head coach covers a game in the preseason will be his first. They have not covered a game in the now 4 preseason again. Small sample size is preseason, but if you look at what the Minnesota Vikings have done so far this preseason and last preseason, the scores speak for themselves. They've been outscored by somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to about 35. They're just not playing anybody. Kirk Cousins has not played a preseason game under Kevin O'Connell's reign. Neither has Justin Jefferson or whoever RB1 is. Last year, Dalvin Cook. This year, Madison. He just doesn't play his starters. And that might change over time. He's a new head coach. It's only his second year. But the Vikings have not tried in the preseason. And the Titans have battles to be won. They have a backup quarterback battle to be won, and they have a backup running back battle to be won.
All right,
so the
there
Titans
you go.
Care more. And you have to find something to look at if you're betting the preseason. And those are some of the things I found. But there's a lot more confidence during the regular season when it's actually built on data.
We're up on a hard break, David. Thanks for your time. I know we'll do it again soon. ProFootballNetwork.com. Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So have you guys done the Peacock story on NBC, ABC yet? Wink had it yesterday.
What Peacock?
The Pinecrest or whatever it is, the thing I did with the.
Oh no.
Wink had, my buddy sent me a text yesterday about, it was like Wink News. It had the Peacock thing. I'm like laughing. Whack the cocks. Whack the cocks. I don't know who I want to win between Spain and England in the Women's World Cup. I think I'm pulling for England because it'll just make them more frustrated that their men's team sucks.
Yeah. I like the way you put it.
Look at Pat's already here. Let's see if Pat's, well, he's not. Next segment. He's a segment early for crying out loud.
We're not doing the 2 anymore?
When we have the top of the hour.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Guy doesn't give a 2-minute answer the entire interview. I ask him a question with 2 minutes left, and he goes for 240. That's just the way it goes.
That's right. He likes coming on with us. RCB, they also let them leave because they were in cap jail. I can hear you. I don't think, Nick, they'll trade an O-lineman before the season, but I do think there's a chance that the Packers trade some guys at the deadline. I think this could be a transition year for them. And I don't see how Bakhtiari is on the team next year. So if that's the case, why keep him?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Just got done talking with David Bearman of Pro Football Network about the Dolphins. We'll talk to Pat Kirwan about a few of the other teams in the league coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time as he continues his training camp tours, although I think he's done traveling. I think he's done. He got back in the Eastern time zone, I think, yesterday. And I think he's done. So we'll find out from Pat. But he's seen at least a handful of teams since we last spoke to him. So Jags, Seahawks, Broncos, just to name a few. So we'll talk to him about that coming up a little more than 15 minutes time. No news on the Wander Franco fund. Although there was a Dominican Republic journalist, Hector Gomez, who covers Major League Baseball for a living, who came out last night and said that from what he has been told, there's a very good chance that Wander Franco will never play Major League Baseball again. Now, I'm not trying to minimize this in any way, but the irony is that the Rays actually have a couple of really good shortstop prospects. One they've called up and one they've moved up to AAA. Now, they were obviously counting on this guy to be a star for the next 10 years, and it's tough to get your hands on stars. But, you know, just like there are certain positions teams are good at and they have depth at, and certain positions they don't have a lot of depth at, it looks as if the Rays in-house may have to go in this direction and are actually suited to go in this direction. Now, whether or not the players will ever be as good as the all-star shortstop that they have right now, we'll wait and see. But early indications coming out of the Dominican Republic, at least by a very respected journalist in the Dominican Republic and his sources in talking to the investigators, say it does not look good for Wander Franco. And then therefore the Rays. So
absolutely sickening story.
Awful.
If it is indeed true.
Yep.
No two ways about it. It's why it's pretty simple for us. There's two ways. He either didn't do it or he goes to jail. There's no real middle ground here.
NBA released their schedule yesterday. Season's going to start a week before Halloween. The season keeps starting a little earlier and earlier and earlier. Baseball and basketball both keep moving their season start dates up. So October 24th is when it's going to start. It's going to start in Denver, which you would think, team that won the title, is where the first game should be played. Heat and Magic both start their season the following day, Wednesday the 25th. Heat at home for Detroit, Orlando at home for Houston. Heat getting a lot of national TV love this coming season. At least that's the plan as of now. And so are the Knicks. Ton of games. People are going to be sick of them. I don't know how entertaining they are.
They're moderately entertaining.
Yeah. You know, but then again, I don't know how entertaining the Heat are, but then again, they don't have Lillard yet. Did you see the one little scheduling little thing that the NBA did? Not that the NBA thinks Damian Lillard's going to end up in Miami or anything, but Portland's scheduled for one nationally televised game all year.
Who are they playing, David?
They're hosting the Heat. And Mark, when are they hosting them? 3 days after the trade deadline. So even the NBA league offices think that the Heat are going to end up with Lillard. Sooner, later, whatever, but that's what they're betting on anyway. So otherwise, you know, 8, 13, and 20 are the magic numbers for football. We're basically at the 3-quarter pole in baseball. Got about a quarter of a season left. Got 4 teams separated by 1 game in the National League for 1 playoff spot. Marlins, Reds, Cubs, all tied for the final playoff spot. Diamondbacks a game back. And the Giants are only like a game ahead of those 4 teams.
Right.
So it's a mess. And the Phillies are, you know, they could probably afford a bad week. The Phillies have created enough. I'm talking like a 2-5 week. You know, could maybe they could still afford a bad week and they'd still be in the playoffs. They've given themselves a little breathing room.
Okay, now I hear you. They have a bad week. They're still in the playoffs. They have more than a bad week. They find themselves out of the playoffs. I mean, That's just how tight this is. And I think last night, one of those nights, David, the Red Sox are really going to be haunted by that loss last night. Opportunity to pick up a half game with no one playing. You're playing the Nationals. That's a game you've got to get. And they didn't.
The defense behind Chris Sale didn't help. Sale couldn't get through the fifth. He was looking pretty good entering the fifth. And the Dodgers very quietly have won 11 in a row. They've lost one game in August. Today's the 18th, by the way, of the month, just so you know. And the Dodgers have lost once so far.
The Dodgers lead is only 2 less games than the Braves lead right now. They're 10.5 up on the Giants, rather.
And they're actually within 4 games of the Braves for the best overall record in baseball, which obviously is the number 1 seed and that sort of deal. And I do think I could argue it's an advantage to be the 2 seed in the National League. I mean, don't you want to play the winner of the Central? Don't you want to play the 3-6 winner?
Could you argue the same thing in the American League? Because the Rangers are only 2 games behind Baltimore right now as well, David. And the difference between playing the Twins and potentially the Rays or Astros?
I will say, though, not sure the Twins are actually going to beat the 6 seed. You know, that's both. I don't know how high people are going to be. I think a little higher on Milwaukee if it's Milwaukee to win their 3-6 series. But the Twins, I mean, right now it'd be Twins-Jays. And if it's not the Jays, it looks like it'll be Seattle. I'm not sure the Twins will be favored to win either series. And the Twins have won a playoff series, I believe I'm right on this, 2002. I mean, this is kind of like, 2 years ago when the Bengals entered the playoffs and they hadn't won a game since, Boomer and Ickey were there. I mean, the Twins have not won a playoff series in over 20 years, which is amazing. Because they've been in the playoffs like 7 times. I mean, they're not awful.
But either way, you're going to get the 2, you're going to get the 3 or the 6. I still could argue that the 2's a better slot to be in.
Yes, I would as well, as opposed to getting the right now Tampa Bay or Houston survivor if you're the 1. Right. I mean, if you're Baltimore, who would you rather play? The Minnesota-Toronto winner or the Tampa-Houston winner? Yeah, I'll take Minnesota-Toronto, thank you. So that's just some of what's going on out there. And a golf tournament or 2 where on this side of the pond and that side of the pond, guys are trying to qualify for the Ryder Cup and Solheim Cup for that matter, which are being played a week apart. It's a hell of a road trip if you're a big golf nut. You'd spend about 8-9 days in Europe. You can see both the Ryder Cup and the Solheim Cup. I digress.
I'll stick with the Ryder. You can go see the Solheim Cup.
I'm just saying you can see both.
I know.
Extend your stay a little bit. That's all.
And of all of the sporting event out there, going to Ryder Cup's the one event I'd much rather watch on television than actually be at. You don't see anything at the Ryder Cup. There's only a handful of matches going on. There's huge crowds, so it's hard to get a good vantage point to see them.
Correct.
I know people that have been to the Ryder Cup and say it's a really tough watch.
I mean, Sunday, there's at least 12 matches at one point on the course, but there's never more than 4 matches at a time on the course. So the crowd, which is big, 30, 35, 40,000 people, they're all within, about 1,000 yards of real estate. It's not ideal.
It's a good made-for-TV event.
Very much so.
Just like the NFL is a really good made-for-TV event.
Yeah, they've got that figured out. They really do. They play these preseason games, and then they don't even play the starters in them. So they tease you with the fact that it looks like football. It feels like football. And really, it's crap. I tell you, it's crap. Pat Kirwan's next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, Pat, can we hear you? Shoot.
Dang. Why does this keep happening? Oh, he said he was going to call me.
No, he's on. I've got him right here. So,
but last time.
Yeah, Pat, I don't know why we're not hearing you, and I don't get it. This is the same setup we use every time.
And it's working with others too, which is weird.
Right. We're not having this problem with anyone else, and we're using this a couple times a day. Once a day. I don't get it. Is that Pat? Felipe? Jesus. All right. I'll take England, Michael, for what it's worth.
Thank you, SEC me.
Catch that segment on Labor Day.
Yes.
And I didn't know if we ever wanted to for like Labor Day and Thanksgiving, one day after the show, that Friday, well, probably not Friday, maybe Wednesday or Thursday for you, because I know you're traveling, to tape a good, bad, and ugly segment for Labor Day. We can even do the what's on tap and all that crap. And
Sure. I can do that.
Because I can too. You know what I mean? I can get all the prep stuff done. And
yep.
really sucks because the connection's so much better on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, our final segment along the network, and we end the week in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice with one Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Top of the morning to you, weary travel, hound. Are you back in the Eastern time zone?
I am back, and I might go out one or two more times, but right now we're officially done. But there's always things I like to go do that don't have to be camp shows, like run over and watch the Jets practice, run over and watch the Giants practice. Bill Carroll was over to see those two teams this week, and it's easy for me to get there, and I probably will go watch both of them in one of the next couple of days. But yes, I'm off the road. I don't know. My rules on the road, fellas, is I'm not going to camp if they're not practicing, and preferably in pads. How do I report back to the listeners? Hey, here we are at camp, and they're having a walkthrough today. No, none of that. So that causes the travel to be insane. Like when we got done with Jacksonville, we flew to the Raiders, which just sounds reasonable, except instead of going to Denver, we flew back to New York. Then we went to Denver, then we went to Seattle, and then we went back to New York. So I don't know. I think I crossed over the top of Denver 3 or 4 times.
A few extra miles, Pat. That'll always be good. You can always, send that grandkid on another trip somewhere for hockey. That you can always can bank those miles, Pat. All right. Let's start with just Denver. You made it to Denver. They're a team that this year I'm fascinated by because they weren't very good last year. The West looks as if there are two halves, and the Broncos, I don't know if they're a have not, or an incomplete. What did you see at the Broncos that should make Bronco fan be excited about where they are right now?
Yeah, I think my conversation with Sean Payton, which was lengthy, he was excited. Now, I don't know that he was excited about Russell Wilson when he took the job. And remember when he immediately posted some of the receivers might be available? All that was Bill Parcells' technique stuff to shape everybody up. So he was, and this is where I think it got most interesting to me. He spent most of his successful career with Drew Brees, and he's a midline thrower and doesn't move around, sticks his foot in the ground, throws the ball. But now he's got this guy that moves around a lot. And as he said to me, I looked at 5 years of Russell's touchdown plays, and more than 50% of them were outside the pocket, where that he just recreates a play. And I don't know that Sean really thought a lot about that before he got there, but now he's really intrigued by the ways to use Russell that way. And Russell, living up to his end of the bargain here, has lost at least 15 pounds, looks better, runs better, and consequently, with his legs under him, is throwing better. So that was a pretty exciting trip from that perspective. And I think I said it to you guys a few months ago. you can say what you want about Russell. Russell has professional pride. He was embarrassed with himself last year. So there is some optimism, and there's some reason for the optimism in Denver.
Well, didn't they lose 3 overtime games last year? They totally botched the end of the Seattle game at the end of regulation. I mean, couldn't we, Pat, make the case that Sean Payton, even with last year's Broncos mess, would have won 3 or 4 more games?
Correct. I believe that, and nothing against the young guy. It's the owner's fault for hiring a kid who wasn't experienced. You know, this goes on all the time. I must say it on your show 100 times a year. When you have the chance to hire a veteran head coach with a successful record, just do it. Otherwise, let the young guy have 5 years. And, of course, in Denver, they couldn't even get through a full season. So no surprise that that was a stumbling failure and that Sean Payton knows. I'll tell you, the whole operation looks different. Everybody's on their toes, PR department included, making sure that they're doing everything Sean's way. It reminded me of when Parcells came to the Jets. I've had the same exact feeling because every guy who picks up a piece of paper, every guy who checks a badge at a gate knows they'll be fired tomorrow if they don't do their job. And they also know someone's watching them. It's really quite amazing what you can do when you clean up a place.
Let's move to Seattle. What do they need to do to improve upon last year? Because last year kind of came out of nowhere for most people, and Geno was terrific. They made the playoffs and surprised a lot of folks. What do they do to improve upon what they accomplished a year ago?
Yeah, well, a couple things. Personnel answer to that question, I'll certainly answer that right now. The draft class this year is going to provide at least 2 starters in Jigba and Witherspoon. Witherspoon is really something. He wasn't practicing the day I was there, but I got a chance to watch some of the stuff he's been doing. He'll be phenomenal on the corner. And in Jigba, all he has to do is be an effective third receiver this year, which I think they already know he's going to be. So those 2 guys, and Charbonnet as a running back by insurance, who I think they like a lot too. Then you get those 3 to go along with the 5 starters they found in last year's, and then you add who they've put on from the free agent group. Draymond Jones is a factor. Jordan Love is going to be a big factor. I watched their 3 safety defense with Jamal playing linebacker. Evan Brown is solidified the center spot, and Bobby Wagner and Jerron Reed are back, which is really good. Now, that's the good side. What's the bad side? They got to accept that they've had some issues, which they are, and those bad points are protecting the quarterback, 23rd with sacks, so we'll talk about the offensive line stuff, and then the defense. Stopping the run is the number 1 issue, and I would think that they're still looking for one more tackle. There's not a lot out there, and as I said to those guys, would you please drive over to Sue's house? He doesn't live far from here, and bring him in. And I don't think that'll happen, and I don't think it would ever happen this early. He likes when the leaves are off the trees to show up for football practice. But if they got themselves a big tackle, I think the answer is they will win the division.
Ooh.
Well, I will say
I'm picking them
offensively.
to win the division, by the way, and I almost never pick Pete, but I am picking them this year because I watched San Francisco for 2 days, the scrimmaging the Raiders, and there's some issues there, and we've discussed this before. The issues are around the quarterback position, and right now that's not an issue in Seattle.
Well, and Seattle in the last 2 years has totally revamped that offense. The 2 new tackles in the draft, the wide receiver position, they're 3 deep at now. They're 2 deep at running back. I mean, Geno's got weapons. I don't know if their defensive line's good enough, not only stopping the run. I don't know if they can get pressure on the passer without blitzing, but it would be interesting if Seattle could give San Francisco a strong run. You mentioned the Niners. You saw them. Okay, why is all of a sudden Brock Purdy an issue? I thought Brock Purdy was the savior. I thought Brock Purdy was the answer.
He was until he got hurt. Now he's human again. In one practice, in a 20-play scheme, he threw 3 interceptions. And the ball didn't have the normal zip it has on it from him. So that happened the second day. And so he's not ready to compete in a game environment and be able to throw the ball the way he did last year. And it's going to come back, but it's not there yet. And I don't know that it'll be there right away. Jimmy Miller had this injury. Jimmy Miller said before we went out to practice, he goes, you watch, people will be jumping all over his ball because it won't have the same stuff on it. I get out there, and it's like they're knocking him down, picking him off. It was not good to watch. Trey Lance is the complete bust. They should say goodbye to him. One would take whatever you can get, a fifth, a sixth, say goodbye. And this might be Sam Darnold's team for the month of September.
Trey Lance is a bust. Cut ties, get what you can get for him.
That's the value of going and watching them live and standing on the field and just and really getting a full double dose of those guys and seeing what, I like San Francisco a lot. I mean, they're great on defense, all that stuff, and the head coaches are running coach genius and all those niceties. But Seattle's, they kind of like fighting San Francisco. And after watching both of them almost, within 3 days of each other, there was a difference. And they're not going to have Nick Bosa in Seattle. I get it. But go try to stop that passing attack right now. And go study the 49ers secondary. I think Seattle, first off, they open up with the Rams. That should be interesting. So that's where I'm sitting with those two. And they ran a deep ball drill in Seattle. And first off, the defensive backs knew it was a deep ball drill. And Geno completed 7 straight deep balls against the first defense. Yeah, it was fun to watch. So I think there's a real battle there. The camp tour provided me with optimism for Seattle and Pittsburgh. And we've talked about Pittsburgh already. So those two teams, when the dust settled and the tour's over, those two I really like and would stand by them. And then I think Denver, cautionary flag of who they might be. They might be better than we think. It's easy to predict Jacksonville's going to be good in their division. Their division's terrible. So, it was fun to do it. But I know you guys don't agree with me on Seattle. That's why I think you should get on a plane and go out there.
No. I don't know if they're ready to play with Philly and Frisco, but listen, they were a playoff team last year and their roster is better this year. I just don't know if their defense and their defensive line can get them late into January. I think you can get them to January. I just don't know if it can get them late into January. So that's my only reservation with them.
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable mindset. Draymond Jones is definitely a big factor for them and a filling a need for them. And he played over 700 plays last year. Here's their group of rushers.
We only got about 3 minutes left. I'd like to at least touch upon the Jags if we could, because the last time we talked, you were in Jacksonville. I've got them an 11 to 12 win team. I've got them taking the next step. When you see them, do you just see them as the best team in a bad division, or do you see them taking the next step a la Seattle?
I like this team. They are well coached by a guy who knows how to bring a team along. He's pushing them pretty hard. I do think having Calvin Ridley has changed the group of receivers. They're formidable to say the least, and they have a quarterback that can get them the ball. I like that rookie running back, Hank Bigsby, as the second back. So I like that situation. When Ernest Johnson is having trouble making his team, that guy when asked to play up in Cleveland did a pretty good job. So I do like them there. On the defensive side, we got a chance to really watch Devon Hamilton. I like that guy. So I do like them. I like them a lot. There's nothing that you would say, now, Trayvon Walker, if you're worried about Seattle's pass rush, are you worried about Trayvon Walker in this group?
Yes,
absolutely.
Extremely. They're going to have to outscore damn near everybody they play, in my opinion, Pat.
Yep, me too. So I think only because David kind of drew the parallel. I would say that Seattle's ahead of Jacksonville in the ability to play against the good teams. But I agree with where you're taking the record. 11 wins, yeah, you should sweep your division. If you don't, shame on you.
Just curious, when you look at, I know you haven't been at the Chiefs camp, do you think the Chiefs can sweep their division?
Yeah. I guess, Mark, you and I would laugh at each other about this. Would you bet on Kansas City in every division game they have?
Yeah.
Yes.
Me too. So the answer to your question is yes.
We do wonder, though, and we're pressed for time, about 30 seconds. We do wonder if they're a Travis Kelce injury away from life getting hard.
Well, yes, they are, because the defense will change the way they see things. They're not going to have that red zone double bracket on him. And now Patrick Mahomes is going to have to sort it out with those receivers that I think, are great. There's really a no number one. There's a lot of number two receivers. And the luxury they have of having Kelce being doubled all the time in the red zone left a couple guys like Scantling open. That would change. And I also think it would put a blitzer into the game where they didn't have the ability to be a blitz team when they had to take care of Kelce and everyone else. So if Kelce was off the field, they'd have a guy to come after the quarterback. And so, yeah, I think things would change. But what team, even the great teams all seem to have a superstar somewhere. How good is San Francisco's pass rush without Bosa?
He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. All right, CBS's NFL Today Show joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Pat, safe travels, be well. The bonus hour is next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Three-year letterman. Blessed and humbled to announce there are 5 players on my youth football team who are completely illiterate, a league record. The amount of people that account pisses off is everything to me.
Wait, what account?
3-year letterman.
Oh.
He's a fake youth football coach.
Nice.
Who considers Benjamin Franklin the greatest president in our nation's history. It's so good. It's just The Onion. It's just fantastic. I have the 50 best fantasy football team names for the year. Hit me with your Prescott, number 1.
Nice.
I like that too. Hot Chub Time Machine. Kamara Sutra. Joe Buck yourself is number 9.
Okay. Llama, Robbie Gold.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Week from tomorrow, week 0, USC, Notre Dame, a couple of handfuls of other games. if that'll scratch your itch. If not, 2 weeks from last night, Gators in Utah, UCF, Kent State. College football season gets underway in earnest with Labor Day weekend. And 3 weeks from last night, Lions and Chiefs, which means that for most NFL teams, you're 23 days away from your Sunday opener, and then 24 days away from Bills and Jets on Monday Night Football. So there you go. Can see it from here. Second preseason games taking place this weekend. And Sam Howell officially named the starting quarterback in Washington while we were talking to Pat Kirwan last segment. That's not a surprise, although Ron Rivera was trying to talk up Jacoby Brissett on a number of occasions, which I have to admit I didn't think was good for his long-term job prospects if he's talking up Jacoby Brissett. I would think a new owner would be like, you had all offseason to upgrade the quarterback position, and you chose Jacoby Brissett?
Got Sam Howell. That's our guy.
There you go. That's a different story. At least it's a young guy we drafted. We paddled in the system last year. He played the season finale, played pretty well against Dallas. We beat the Cowboys, although they mailed it in that day. And we got ourselves a future QB. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And Washington, to me, is kind of like the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons won 7 games last year. They were in virtually every game they played, and they won 7 games with horrible quarterback play. By league standards, their quarterback play was abysmal, and they won 7 games. The Commanders did not have a losing record last year. They went 8-8-1. And yet their quarterback play was bottom 25% of the league. The bubble burst on Taylor Heineke. And yet they still didn't lose more games than they won. And it just makes you wonder if, are Washington and Atlanta, once again, in the NFC, which is where you want to be. It's like playing in the 2 central divisions in baseball. That's where you want to be, the NFC. Are they actually not that far away? What if they have a Giants-like year? You win all your close games. You manage the game effectively, keep it close. You steal them late. You ham and egg it. Next thing you know, you find yourself a wild card team.
Because what are you going to have to get to be an NFC wild card team? I mean, we look at the NFC right now. Okay, you've got the Eagles, you've got the Niners, who most think are the 2 best teams, not Pat Kirwan, but most think are the 2 best teams in the NFC. You've got an NFC South that's lousy. Whoever wins it, if someone gets to 10, great. But 2 teams in that division aren't getting to 10. The likelihood is nobody's getting to 10 in that division, that 9 may very well win that division. And hell, who'd be surprised if it was even 8?
Again.
So what's it going to take to be the 7 seed?
Well, the last
NFC.
2 years since we've expanded to 7 teams in the playoffs, the 7 seed both years was 9-8 in the NFC. 9-8. The Eagles were the 7 seed 2 years ago at 9-8, and Seattle won the tiebreaker against Detroit, and they got in at 9-8. Washington missed it by a half a game at 8-8-1. The Giants made it by half a game at 9-7-1. And much to our surprise, by the way, the 7th seed in the AFC has not been much better. Dolphins were the 7th seed last year at what? 9-8. And the year before, I think Pittsburgh got in as the 7th seed at 9-7-1.
But I believe it'll take 10 this year in the AFC. I think you're going to have to get to 10 in the AFC. I just think there are too many good teams. We've added to the number. The AFC was good last year. I think the AFC is even better this year.
I agree with you. Put it this way. You know how when you look at certain divisions in baseball and you say, I need so many wins to get in? Mark, I think if you're an AFC team, you have to think we got to get to 10. I know the last 2 years, the teams have snuck in with 9. And in theory, we could all beat each other up and we could have another 7 seed that's 9-8. in the 4-way tiebreaker or something crazy. But I think in the AFC, you got to plan on 10. I do think, though, if you're in the NFC, you'd love 10. But I think you're also because the last 2 years, Mark, we've had a 2-way tie for 7th. Philly won the tiebreaker against New Orleans 2 years ago at 9-8. Seattle won the tiebreaker with Detroit last year at 9-8. So 10's a guarantee, but in the NFC, 9?
Oh, yeah.
So I do think the expectation is clearly a game different, depending on the conference that you're in.
There's only, if I've got this right, there's only 5 teams in the NFC with over-unders of 9.5 or greater. To prove your point, Dallas is at 9.5. San Francisco is at 10.5. The Lions are at 9.5. The Saints are at 9.5. So, I mean, and Philadelphia is 11.5.
Now, what is interesting is Dallas won 12 games last year and then a playoff game. So I do find their over-under interesting. Now, the NFC East has a tougher schedule this year. Like the Giants went 1-4-1 in their division and made the playoffs. Why? Because they beat up on what turned out to be a pretty soft non-division schedule. That's not the case this year. You're in the NFC East. It's just like being in the AFC East. And, oh, by the way, they play each other. It's hard. But I do find that interesting. Dallas 12-5 and won a road playoff game, something they hadn't done in over 30 years. And their over-under's as low as it is. I would have thought Dallas's over-under would have been 10.5.
Especially because they're a very popular team that's going to get more. I mean, just by law of averages, they're going to get more over bets than under bets simply because of the huge amount of fan base that they have.
So Sam Howell, for whatever that's worth, and not like I think any of you are drafting Sam Howell in your upcoming fantasy football draft. I don't even know how many of you are going to pick him up when your top 2 quarterbacks get hurt, but we'll see. That's a coach, by the way. I mean, right now, if you had to bet money on a coach that's not going to see 2024, I think I'd have to put Ron Rivera at the top of the list, even ahead of Staley with the Chargers, just because of new ownership. I mean, come on, you spend $6 billion on a franchise. I mean, you got to make the playoffs to keep your job, man.
You're probably right. But I don't know if the Commanders' number one goal this year is, playoffs or we fire the coach. There's so many problems that were in DC with the organization that just 1 year of sanity, no matter what happens, he could end up saving it. But I think you're on to something.
You got to remember, Josh Harris owns the Sixers. He just got rid of Doc Rivers for getting bounced in the second round of the playoffs 3 years in a row. I mean, he's not even afraid to fire a somewhat successful coach, a guy who's won a ring as a coach. And he's got Magic pounded the table going, I got a guy. I know who we should hire. Because Magic wants to make changes.
Lots of them.
Right. Hey, I got a lot going on. Okay, I got my my coffee shops and my Burger King and this, that, and the other thing. But while I'm here, while I'm in town, here's my 2 cents about what we should do. And I'm right.
And while he's there, he's going to tell you that he sold the meat to Burger King for the Whoppers and that he owned the Starbucks. Trust me.
Yep.
And I love Magic.
I know you do, and you should.
But not nearly as much as Magic loves Magic.
Love me some me. Got that right. Of course, my prediction. Next coach of the Washington Commanders, Bill Belichick.
It's a great prediction. It is a great prediction because we have one of the things that we've not talked about, because we don't sit there and dive into the Patriots every day, but there has to be some pressure on Bill Belichick this year.
Well, I don't think Robert Kraft. I mean, the 3 years post Brady, they've had one winning season, one playoff appearance. They got routed in that game at Buffalo. They've been, for 3 years, they're basically the Washington Commanders. They're pretty average.
And expected to be the worst team in that division this year. If they finish higher than fourth, it will be a surprise to most people.
You know, Kraft just spent tens of millions of dollars on a huge scoreboard at Foxborough there. I mean, you know, 4 mediocre years in a row. Does that sound like something Robert Kraft at this stage of his life and career is just going to accept? I mean, I think he's going to sit down with Bill and say, Bill, we got to talk here. Why this is not working. Okay, we're not winning. We're not succeeding. We had a dynasty. We've gone from a dynasty to mediocrity. Also, look at the Patriots roster. Who's the guy? You know, you can have a bad team or a mediocre team. Like, you're a Detroit Tigers fan. Okay, there's actually a couple of young Tigers that you look at and you go, you know.
You watch Green, you watch Torkelson, you go, oh, hey, wait a minute here. These guys look like they can play.
Got a couple of pitchers, and you're like, you know, it sounds crazy. Believe it or not, it's that way with the Pittsburgh Pirates. If you watch the Pirates right now, you're like, you know what? At 6 positions, we got good young players. We could get a couple of pitchers. In this division, we could compete. If you look at the Patriots right now, look at what they're going up against for the next 2-3 years. Where are the different outside of Judon on defense? Who do they have that you have to double team on either side of the ball? There's no Moss. There's no Gronk. There's no Brady. There's no Ty Law. You know, they're mediocre. I don't think Robert Kraft is going to handle this for one more year. I don't.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
go. See and raise 4. I think you got that ace, and I'm not paying you for it. I used to be able to write off condoms. 2 to go. See and raise 4. I think you got that ace, and I'm not paying you for it. I used to be able to write off condoms.
Yeah, John. It's not the Hard Rock appeal. It's the West Flagler, actually. It's the other group. They filed the rehearing, and the D.C. Circuit Court, where it was at, has asked for the tribe to, what was it, David? What did they ask for?
To file a response to the West Flagler petition by the end of this month.
Yeah, the petition to rehear is what the petition was. And so now they have to file a response to that. So that'll take a month.
Well, today's the 18th, so they have to do it in 2 weeks. But in theory, this could have been resolved by the end of this month. Now the thought is this is not going to get resolved until mid to late September. And that's just this phase of it.
That's just this phase. And then after that, if indeed the circuit holds up what the tribe had already won, then the West Flagler group would have to appeal to the Supreme Court. That's where we're at.
And the thought is, if they were going to take this step of the appeal, that they clearly intend to take it all the way to the Supreme Court.
Right.
I mean, they literally have nothing to lose. Right now, they're shut out. They'll never have a sports book of any at their
No,
track.
they can have a sports book. They've just got to pay the VIG to the tribe.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought only the tribe could have the book.
You can have one, but the VIG you have to pay the tribe. Everything
Gotcha.
runs through the tribe.
Gotcha.
I'm officially Joe Buck yourself this year in fantasy football.
Okay.
Here we go.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, along with some final thoughts and a couple of picks, all coming up in a little less than 20 minutes. The Diamond District bonus hour edition of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. No big sale this weekend, right? This is just, quality product, quality prices, that sort of deal, but no big sale.
It's not like they really need a sale because they've got the best prices in Southwest Florida. You got Todd and Jason always there. So I would say it's never a bad time to join the family, the Diamond District family. I've been a member of that family for a long time. They have treated me very well.
You ever?
I have.
I know.
Probably 12 years now.
And based on the week, sometimes your stock's higher with them than it is at home. So, I know how fond of you they are. their morale with Todd and Jason. Todd and Jason, morale's always really good.
Always good.
Right. I mean, I know you're always loved at home, just like I'm always loved at home. But sometimes morale, it wanes from time to time.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, my wife has changed her hours, so she's not working as much. And she has literally told me, it's your time. Start making more money. I've had enough of this. It's on you now. I need a break.
Okay, honey. I'm trying. Just we're negotiating, trying to get in other markets. We're trying.
Sponsorship's still available on Miller and Moulton. Just like Todd and Jason at the Diamond District, your opportunity to be part of the show is there at all times. Text me right now at 21,000. I'll be there by noon. Maybe not today. I've got a tea time.
Don't do it for Miller and Moulton. Do it. Do it for Mark's wife. So I can't believe what I'm about to say, but this is how much of a phenomenon this guy is created in a short period of time. So are you going to watch Messi Saturday night in Nashville?
No.
Well, you got to remember, I don't go out on Saturday nights. I don't have a life. So, I'm going to be home. And I've already signed up for like 4 different streaming channels. So,
But you got to buy this one.
I know. It does bother me a little bit that I already am paying for this streaming channel, but then I have to pay for this service on this streaming channel. Right.
Correct.
That annoys me a little bit. I got to be honest.
And I'm not paying to watch MLS soccer. I don't know and I'm being serious. I'd pay to go see Messi. But outside of seeing Messi, I wouldn't pay to go to an MLS game, period.
Well, he said something yesterday, doing a little media before this. What are they? There's something.
Leagues Cup, David. It is the Leagues Cup. It is the Leagues Cup final. They play Nashville tomorrow night.
Okay. No need to.
Come on now. You know it. You don't disparage the Leagues Cup the way that you are.
No need to get hostile about this or anything. Okay. Apparently the cheapest ticket to get into this event in Nashville. And remember, they got a few things going on in Nashville. Nashville's hopping, man. It's Nash Vegas. I mean, this $550, I guess it'll cost you minimum to get in the damn joint and watch Messi play in this match. Minimum $550. So Messi was asked about the MLS yesterday, was asked about the level of play. And he was asked a few things also. He was asked about, hey, are you going to be okay playing on artificial turf?
Because he'd always said, it was out there that he wouldn't play on artificial turf.
Right. And there are a few surfaces in the MLS that are artificial turf. And he said, no, I'm fine with it. Obviously would prefer grass, but no, I'll play. I'm fine with it. Okay. Because I got to admit, if he said he had a problem with it, I don't know what those teams would be replacing that turf as soon as possible. The commissioner, I think, would force him to. Messi says he's not playing. Why? Because you guys have turf. So you need to get grass.
Now.
Call George Toma and get some damn grass, okay?
Got that right.
But so Messi was asked about the level of play at the MLS. And he said he is committed to raising the level of play and not being, he didn't say I'm going to make it equal to the Champions League or anything like that. But he said, part of my commitment to this league is to also help raise the level of play where we're not looked down upon the way we are by the European leagues. Okay, he said, and now it may be because they, end up importing guys from the European leagues, and that's how they're going to do it, by stealing some of their guys. Just like some of our good young players in the last few years, a few of the European teams have said, no, we're interested in this guy, this Pulisic guy. We could employ him over here. He doesn't have to play in Portland or Seattle. He can play over here. So, but I mean, he addressed it. he did put down the MLS, but he did say, I like Beckham never was asked or never addressed it in my recollection, Mark. And granted, that was a generation ago, but Beckham never really talked about, I'm going to raise the level of the MLS and what have you. Messi talked about it yesterday, in which he said, no. We need to do it. We need to get it so that we're not looked down upon by the European leagues. Okay.
I love that he also said he feels the opposite of how he felt when he was in Paris. Because he made it public that he hated it there. I mean, he'd left Barcelona where he'd been his whole life, his whole adult life. And so it was a big change. And this one he negotiated, if you will. So I can understand why. Plus, there's no public subs in Paris.
No, there's not. We'll hang our hat on that. Thank you very much.
Don't know if he's been back yet, but I'm hoping he makes a trip again.
I've heard he's gone all Uber Eats for his public sub now.
Yeah,
he's gone delivery. Now that now that word's out that he likes to go to Publix in the fresh market, now he's getting his groceries delivered.
Right. And for anyone in that area who didn't know who he was, they sure do now.
Exactly. He was able to get those first couple visits in with no problem. Last time he tried to pull it off, all right, there were 500 people waiting outside. So that's all. I'm not going to pay for it. I won't.
Will you go out and watch it? Will you go out and try to see it somewhere?
I will not. But I have to admit, it's on the top of my mind. Like, of all the sporting events that are taking place this weekend, there's a couple of big baseball series and what have you. But believe it or not, to me, the number one thing is, let's see if Messi and Miami can. I mean, they're in dead last place in the MLS. All these wins don't count. They could win this in-season championship, go 7-0. And then when they start up next week, they're in dead last. This is kind of like when the Phoenix Suns went to the during the pandemic, and they went to the bubble, and people were shocked they were even invited. They go 8-0 in the bubble. They missed the playoffs by a game. They come out the next year, they go to the finals.
David, it is the year of Miami.
It is.
So this could continue. If it is the year of Miami, they should lose in Nashville because it is a final.
Well said, Mark.
Well, also, if it's the year of Miami, you guys lose. Because the Marlins are
You're right.
Going to the playoffs.
And they're trying as best they can to hang on. As best they can.
Boy, are they.
But it is going to be a dogfight. But someone's got to make that wild card. And right now, the Cubs, the Reds, and the Marlins are trying to say, no, you got it. I'll take it.
Weekend in L.A., I mean, doesn't get bigger than this.
By the way, the Canes over under 7.5. I think if we're going to continue this Miami theme, we have to bet over on the Canes, don't we?
That's
I know.
Miller and Moulton.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost, a team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
We have a delivery.
What's that? Knock your. I. What do you got there? Empanadas?
Fat Cat's delivery.
Oh, fat. Oh, is your girl drop it off?
No, Adam.
Oh.
The show. Owner of the UV location.
Oh.
Yeah. See what we got here.
I need to find it good. Oh my God, that's awful early for that. It might kill me.
Not for David. Also, Adam from Fat Cats to David says, "Sorry, you live in Jacksonville."
Yeah, we just got a big food. Oh, he's
gone.
Yeah, he's not us.
Oh, and some wings. Oh my gosh.
Do they fry their wings there, or do they bake them? They got French fries. They should fry them.
They probably fry them. Some ranch. Man.
All right.
That.
What the heck? Not what I meant. Oh crap.
Oh yeah. That's nice. Leaving this in here for now.
Oh, good. So I can smell it for the next 20 minutes.
Okay, fine.
No, you can. It doesn't matter.
You can manifest.
killing me. You're killing me.
Oh, it looks so good.
Wings at 9:37. He's over there reading something. He's not even participating. Literally just had a bag of food show up. Fat Cats with Philly cheesesteaks and wings at 9:37 in the morning.
That's awesome.
Yeah, see? The first thing Mark goes, he goes, man, it's awfully early for that. I'm like,
I thought
for David.
I thought for sure they were going to come because
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Here we go. A little head bobbing. You know, as we end the show, end the week. Diamond District bonus hour edition, Miller and Moulton. I don't know about that, but okay. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. You missed any part of the show. Pat Kirwan joined us last hour. David Bearman, Pro Football Network, joined us last hour talking about the Dolphins. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download anytime you miss something and you want to check it out.
You know, I remember those air horns when people would actually bring those to games. When security was lax and you could bring damn near anything you wanted into a venue.
Right. Remember when you used to be able to bring signs? Now it's no. It's obstructing the view and whatever. No, come on. Nope, can't bring signs. No banners, no signs.
It's funny because
certainly no food or drink.
No.
The one time that I ever went to a college game day experience, it was in Miami. You know, the whole thing is the signs, but they're very strict on what those signs say. There was a whole wall with what looked like hundreds of inappropriate quote unquote signs.
Yeah, see, I'm sorry. It's either no signs. You can't go show me your sign. No. We can't let you have that. No. You're either pro sign, anti sign. No. You can't unless there's an expletive. I'm sorry.
Right.
No. Just because, fire Cashman. Sorry. If you allow signs, I'm allowed to hold up the sign.
Sign checkpoints at college game day.
Don't know what to tell you. It's bought and paid for by a network, and they get to control what goes on.
I know. Expletives. I would. No. We can't let you bring that in here. Come on now. But, if you're poking fun at other fan bases or something, I mean, you can't say we suck. We try not to promote that image. Not on Miller and Moulton, mind you. We're fine with that.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start in 1909 when the mayor of Tokyo presents Washington, D.C. with 2,000 cherry trees, which President William Howard Taft decides to plant near the Potomac River.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, beautiful cherry blossom out there in D.C. They got those uniforms, the Nationals.
1914, President Woodrow Wilson issues a proclamation of neutrality. Wouldn't last that long. Today in 1920, we ratified the 19th Amendment, allowing women to vote.
By one vote.
It was Harry Byrne, the state representative from Tennessee, who cast the deciding vote after reading a letter from his mother.
24-year-old kid. Mom said, you better do this or else.
22 at Oakmont. Gene Sarensen, at the age of 20, wins the PGA. 1956, Elvis Presley's Hound Dog and Don't Be Cruel. It's not a bad single right there. Reached number 1 on the charts and stayed there for 11 weeks. It was a record for a single release. Hank Aaron passed Stan Musial for extra base hits today in 1973. Today in 83, we finally finished the Pine Tar game, David. Dan Quisenberry comes out and retires the Yankees in order. And Hal McRae strikes out to end the top of the inning.
Well, the best part of it is, when did the game originally happen? May or June?
I don't think it was that long ago, but regardless, but it'd been a month for sure.
And so they're resuming the Pine Tar game after originally the Yankees won and the president of the American League overruled it and said that the home run counts and the Royals had the lead. That's why they had to finish the top of the ninth and then play the bottom of the ninth. Billy Martin comes out and puts the game under protest. And the umpires go, what do you say? And he alleges that Brett missed first. And the umpires were ready for it. And the umpires take out of their pocket, because Martin's looking at him like, prove it. Prove that he didn't miss first. Okay? And they had a signed, sworn statement that said that Brett had touched all 4 bases successfully.
But that didn't stop Martin, because when the game started, before he pitched to Hal McRae, he appealed to every single base.
Exactly.
To make sure that he touched first, second, and third.
Now that's a grudge.
It was today in 1986, David, that Bon Jovi released their 3rd album, Slippery When Wet. It would be the soundtrack of my senior year of high school.
It did fairly well, I'm told, at the old record stores. Yeah.
Rich Beam wins the PGA today in 2002, beating Tiger by 1. And Usain Bolt wins the gold medal at the Rio Games for the 3rd consecutive Summer Olympics, winning the 200 in 2016. Roberto Clemente and Patrick Swayze both born today. Robert Redford's 87. Dennis Leary's 66. Edward Norton and Christian Slater are both 54. Luke Fickle is 50. And Jeremy Shockey is 43 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Well, they overthrew Gorbachev today in 91. Little coup. Placed him under house arrest. Then, eventually they let him out, but you're no longer the boss anymore. Also, on this day in 92, Larry Bird retired. We did the Olympics and then was done.
I met Jeremy Shockey one time at a full moon party in the Keys, and it was hilarious because he was hammered. It was so funny.
Let's see. Athlete in the Keys, hammered. That seems to be
that checks
par
out
for the course.
Yeah, for sure. Jeremy Shockey, especially. Canes legend.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Can't believe I'm doing this, but for the good, we go to Taylor Swift. Not only is the concert, blowing everything away, but she has been making huge donations to U.S. food banks around the country of where she's touring. When she kicked off in Arizona, the check for the Arizona Food Bank filled tractor trailers with 40,000 pounds of fresh produce, and to reinforce benefit programs for children who rely on school meals and seniors who rely on food stamps. She's done that everywhere that she has gone on this monstrous tour. See, I can even stick up for Taylor Swift.
She also turned down the NFL yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I think it's because she extended her tour another year.
Listen, I don't want to say she's big, but the NFL, Super Bowl, 100+ million people. Halftime this past year was the highest rated 15 minutes of the broadcast at around 114 million people. They offer you, hey, you want a little promotion for your tour? You could do the Super Bowl. She goes, no, I'm good. I don't need the NFL. That's how big I am.
That or I'll do it another year. I know you'll come calling again.
Harry Styles now the leader in the clubhouse, they're saying, for the halftime performance.
Leader in the offense.
For the bad, we go to Lee County, where Derek Weaver is an idiot. He was doing a $130 on I-75 early Thursday morning.
Wow.
Police tried to pull him over, but he failed to pull over. And then he lost control of his vehicle on Alico Road and ended up in the median, so he went running, more than likely to the Gulf Coast Town Center. He was arrested there. But not only was he doing a $130, he had a half pound of weed in the car when he was doing a $130.
Come on, man.
You're a moron.
I thought the weed's supposed to slow you down.
Not that car.
Thought he was driving a spaceship, apparently.
I thought when you have a half pound of weed, they pull you over and they go, you know how fast you were going? You go, no. And they say 4. You were going 4.
He wasn't smoking it, obviously. He was just transporting it and doing it a little quickly. For the ugly, we'll stick in Fort Myers, where Fort Myers police are on the search for a man who was breaking into Joe's Crab Shack and stealing shrimp. We know it's not you, David, because there's a perfect picture on the CCTV of this man opening the freezer where the shrimp were stored. He has not been caught yet. And he stole about $400 worth of shrimp.
Don't people know that public establishments these days always have cameras? I mean, they're making them cheaper and cheaper, and the quality is just getting
better and better. Exactly.
I mean,
but he's still on the loose with his 3 cases of frozen shrimp. And that's the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, August the 18th, 2023.
Dingus.
I'd have to go somewhere and let them thaw out and then eat them before I'd have to appear in public again. I mean, if I'm going down for this, I'm at least eating the shrimp.
3 cases. How long would it take you?
Pounds or cases? What
Cases.
was it?
I'm guessing there's probably 20, probably 10 to 20 pounds a case.
Oh, wow. This would take me,
about a week.
Yes. It's just what I was going to say. I'd have to go somewhere for a week.
There has never been a time when I'm at, every once in a while, I get invited to a party and there's the heavy hors d'oeuvres and the shrimp cocktails out there. And it's, I literally want to stop what I'm doing, call you and invite you just so I can watch. Because no one can take on a shrimp cocktail like David Moulton.
I walk into places in which they got the shrimp and I literally look at them and I go, you guys serious about this? I go, is there a limit? I go, because if so, I should leave now. Listen, the Dodgers have won 11 in a row and they're hosting the Marlins for a 3-game series. That would seem to be bad news for the Marlins. Tell you what, I'm betting on the Marlins tonight. I got Alcantara and I got odds. And the Dodgers, did I say they won 11 in a row? Sometimes you're due to lose a game, right? They just swept the first place Brewers. They're really going to take the Marlins seriously?
Oh, that sounds like a lock right there.
I don't know about a lock. It's a hunch, but I'm just saying.
It's a nice hunch. I don't have the onions to make that bet, David.
I mean, I can get nearly plus 150 with Sandy Alcantara tonight. And the Marlins had yesterday off. Just saying. And the Marlins' big sticks are right-handed. Okay, and they're facing a lefty Gonsolin. I got a feeling. Playing a hunch tonight on the Marlins. Rays also in SoCal. They're playing the Angels.
The Angels, who have just played so well since the trade deadline, where they went out and acquired some players, trying to do what they can to keep Ohtani. And as we are winding down on the last days of Ohtani in, well, at least in that part of SoCal.
A couple of afternoon games. Cubs are playing a day game, which is always nice, hosting the Royals. And first of 2, because they got rained out last night, Detroit and Cleveland starts mid-afternoon. So there you go. But the Rays and Marlins both on the West Coast through the weekend. One has a little easier road than the other. One's got the Dodgers, the other's got the Angels.
Carolina and the Giants on NFL Network at 7 o'clock tonight.
Bryce Young, right, for a quarter and a half?
Yep. And then Cincinnati and Atlanta are the other preseason game tonight.
Giants are 3-point favorites. I would actually lay the points. Dable
Jags
kind of
and Lions tomorrow on the NFL Network, although I think we get that in the 239 on NBC. Dolphins play tomorrow. Bucks play tomorrow.
By the way, you could, if you're a degenerate or if your life is just not as fulfilling as you hoped it would be at this point, that is a triple header that's available. One plays at 1, one plays at 4, one plays at 7:30. You could go Jags, Dolphins, Bucks, boom, 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 and that's your Saturday.
Boy, that's a depressing Saturday of preseason football. What you could do is 1-2, 4-5, and 7:30, and then try to fit in around that. Just watch some first quarters.
How many box of Cheez-Its would it take? Probably about 7 or 8. It really would for me. But just saying, if you got nothing going on, you don't like your family that much, 1-4, 7:30.
So that'll do it for the week that is Miller and Moulton. We thank you so much for listening. It's been a great week. If you missed any part of the show, go to floridasportsnetwork.com to download anything you may have missed, and we'll do it all over again Monday morning with a big weekend of sports ahead of us. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you Monday, 6 a.m. on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34